the National League has to offer. Tonight, the Cards continue their quest to be the best in all of baseball against the Brewers.
I am number one, no matter if you like it, take it, sit down and write it. I am number one. What does it take to be number one? 2 is not a winner, and 3 nobody remembers. 7, what does it take to be number one? Because 2 is not a winner, and 3 nobody remembers.
The Brewers are back home, but they have a tall task looking right into their eyes. They are a flying group. Those St. Louis Cardinals flying so high, they are now the National League Central Division champions. That, of course, is with Chicago's split of a doubleheader with the Florida Marlins today. There are your Central Division champions as of about 15 minutes ago. Boy, it's good to be back home, and it's good to be back in your living room. We've had a couple of days off on television. He is Bill, I am Darren. Welcome back to the ballpark, and as we welcome everyone back, the Brewers come home against one of the best offensive teams and one of the best pitching teams in all of baseball, these Cardinals. And who's your vote for MVP? Is it Bonds? Is it Edgar Renteria? Who would it be?
Albert. It's got to be Albert for me. I'll tell you what, these guys can swing the bats. They're first in the National League in team batting average. They're second in runs. They hit the home runs. They play defense. They do it all. Pujols, Rowan, Edmonds, these guys are the total package. You wonder why these guys are going to win 100 games? It's those 3 right there. You don't have to pitch all that well in order to win games with the Cardinals up.
Best ERA in the National League. Many people overlook that. Matt Morris, last time out, very good. He's been hot, he's been cold, he's been hot all year long. He's been very inconsistent, but the bottom line is he's got a shot at winning 19 games this year. For the Brewers, Bill, they played their best baseball against the best team in baseball. No other team has a winning record against the Cardinals outside of the Milwaukee Brewers.
Well, and again, I think a tale of 2 seasons. I think in the beginning of the year, the Brewers caught the Cardinals when they really weren't that healthy. The pitching staff in a bit of disarray. The Brewers have won 5 of 9. Brewers won the opening series in St. Louis 3 games out of 4, and then the Cardinals came here, and the Brewers beat them 2 out of 3. 2 different teams at 2 different points in the season, however, right now.
We asked Lyle Overbay how these guys have gotten it done.
I just think we were hitting the ball. We were doing the little things that made us successful, and you know, getting guys over, scoring runs when we had them on third base and with less than 1 out or something like that. And it just, you know, if they win the World Series, I think we're gonna get a ring from them, because I think we set them off. They were kind of mad at us for taking a few games against them, so we'll see.
Let me just set the record straight. Not Edgar Renteria, Adrian Beltre.
Yeah, I knew what you meant.
All right.
I knew what you
Adrian Beltre. It's not that hard, folks. Scott Pasetic ready to go. He is now into the 60s in stolen bases. Adrian Beltre, not Edgar Renteria. The Brewers and the Cardinals next.
Thank you for bringing me.
You look beautiful.
I've got an eligible beer in the cooler on Hector. Less taste, very unmacho. Replacing with great tasting, less filling Miller Lite. Half the carbs of Bud Light. Wow. We've also got a disproportionately hot girlfriend. I will need further review.
Hi there.
I think I could.
Oh, please.
Hey, Tina.
Miller, good call.
I want to take a little break in the action and tell you about my friends at the Good Feet store. Ever since I was a player, I've had constant pain in the balls of my feet, my arches, my heels, even my neck. From waking up in the morning hobbling out of bed to broadcasting games at night, I was in constant pain. I thought it was just something I was going to have to live with. And then I went to the Good Feet store. Thanks to them, my feet and legs are feeling great. Even my neck pain is gone. Do what I did. Stop in at your local Good Feet store and feel good again.
I'm a Ford truck man. It's the biggest truck event of the year. It's Ford's Big Throwdown.
Ready for a throwdown?
Where you can save big on America's #1 selling trucks.
No other truck can touch Ford, brother.
Get great throwdown savings on F-150 with 0% financing or up to $5,000 total cash back. And check out F-150's no-charge Triton V8 and trailer tow package.
This is why Ford is #1.
Get to Ford's Big Throwdown today.
Bring it on. Visit your local Ford store.
You're watching FSN.
You met them. You loved them. You became addicted to their game. And now, they're back. one of the most acclaimed shows from England in its most controversial season ever.
Telling lies and sucking up to the rich and famous.
Who will come out on top?
I don't do what you want. You do what I want. Oh, bless you.
Dream Team, Season 4, only on Fox Sports World.
That's where I want it.
In the 2003-2004 season, Arsenal defied the odds, marched through the Premier League schedule unbeaten, and earned the right to be called the new Invincibles. But the 2004-2005 season is now underway, and superstars like Ruud van Nistelrooy, Alan Shearer, Nicolas Anelka, and Juan Pablo Angel are all taking aim at the Gunners. Who will hoist the trophy come May? The Barclays English Premier League is on Fox Sports World, America's soccer channel.
You're watching FSN.
Milwaukee Brewers baseball on FSN North is presented by Miller. Vote Miller for president of beers. By Clements. Clements Great Grill Challenge. Never substitute fat for flavor. And by Toyota. Get the feeling. After a short road trip to Houston, good to have you back in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, in Miller Park. The best team in baseball in town, the St. Louis Cardinals. Young left-hander Jorge De La Rosa ready to go, and the manager of the year, maybe again this year. We shall see for these Cardinals. Let's take a look at Tony La Russa's starting nine, and it's brought to you by Dodge. At the top is Womack, then it's Taguchi, and the great one, Albert Pujols, Sanders, Walker, and Renteria. Then it is Matheny, Luna, and Morris, 7 through 9. De La Rosa ready to go, his third start in the major leagues. Numbers haven't been good, but it's a very small study. One of 6 players acquired this winter in the Richie Sexson trade, and the last to get here and the last to get an opportunity. And he finds a strike zone. 0-1-1 to count.
Now, it's been a couple of tough starts for De La Rosa. He's only made 2 starts. He's been roughed up a little bit, but his minor league number is very good in AAA.
And there's Tony Womack. He's been doing it all season long. Nice little slap single into center field. We'll take a look at De La Rosa's numbers, but why don't you tell us a little bit about what you saw, Bill, in AAA when you asked about him?
Yeah, you can throw those numbers out the window. I mean, the kid's only made a couple of big league starts. The numbers aren't very good, but what really stuck out with me with his numbers in AAA, 85 2/3 innings. They only gave up 80 hits, and he struck out 86. Less hits to innings pitched, more strikeouts to innings pitched. It's just a matter of this guy calming down and getting some regular starts in the major leagues. I think he'll be all right.
He's 23 years old, out of San Nicolas in Mexico. Diamondbacks, Red Sox, Diamondbacks, and then the Brewers as far as his professional teams. And he was one of the names that had to come from Boston, De La Rosa, to Arizona in the Curt Schilling trade. He then was part of the 6-player deal for Richie Sexson and Shane Nance. So Taguchi, a late addition to the lineup. Jim Edmonds was originally penciled into the lineup in center field, but maybe tying hand in hand with, in fact, the Cardinals actually clinched the Central Division title with a Cubs loss in Game 2 of that doubleheader. And La Russa may be giving him a day off.
I would imagine that's going to be the story of this series this week, and Tony's not going to be throwing out the 18 just about every night. He had intended on doing that tonight because Tony La Russa said that he wants to win this thing on the field. He just doesn't want to have, you know, a Cub loss, give them the division title. And certainly Matt Morris wants a win tonight.
So a single and a walk, and let's take a look at the defense. It really hasn't gotten an opportunity to do much. And when you talk about the defense, we remind you it's brought to you by Rico. Lyle Overbay struggled a little bit offensively in that series in Houston, so he will have today and probably tomorrow off, which is borderline curious. It's Jenks, Poe, and Magruder in the outfield. Branyan, Hall, Durrington, Helms at first in place of Overbay. Mark Johnson does the catch. Lyle one shy of the club record for doubles set by Robin Yount at 49. Lyle has 48. Ed Yost saying he may only play just one game in this 4-game series.
Man, there's still plenty of time left in the season for Lyle to be able to do that, but you certainly don't want to shortchange him. Never know what might be going into that decision for Ned.
Well, the first baseman for the St. Louis Cardinals, if you're Tony La Russa, you want to have him in there every day. Look at the numbers again for Albert Pujols. is staring at a couple of RBIs. That one bounces away from Johnson. And not a pretty start if you're a Brewers fan. Runners on second and third, a base open.
Well, just about the last thing that De La Rosa needed was a shaky first inning. Anytime, you know, even Wes Obermuller out there and some of the young guys, you want to have them experience some early success. That fastball spiked down in the ground, and all Johnson could do was hope it got a piece of him, which it did. Mark Johnson back there, obviously, because he caught De La Rosa in the minor leagues this year.
Johnson saying before the game he just needs to be more consistent. Said the stuff is there, the consistency even in AAA was not for his money. Albert didn't mean to as he chops that one foul. First 4 seasons, 30 or more home runs. No one's ever done that in the history of the game. First 4 seasons, 100 or more RBIs, and look at that group since 2001.
You know what? The amazing combination of batting average and power. I mean, a .330 hitter with all those home runs and RBIs, rarely do you see that anymore.
We'll do it again with a 1-2 count. Milwaukee losers of 6 consecutive games. They are on that 0-6 run. During that time, they have scored all of 7 runs. They have hit just 194, and they have wasted a team ERA of an even 3.
Well, Ben Sheets losing 2-1 in the first game of that series. And then Doug Davis, a heartbreaker, 1-0 loss yesterday. Man.
High drive down that left field line. If Jenkins has room, it's not deep enough to do damage, but he doesn't. So we'll do it again with a 1-2 count. These Cardinals making plans for October. And Bill, you talked about it on the pregame show, and I think it bears mentioning now. The expectations they have created them, they're very high.
Man, the 46 games over 500. I think that the Central Division in National League was over about the All-Star break. And I would imagine a little bit of pressure in that dugout over there in third base. Not thinking just the last 2 weeks of the season, but the postseason. They've got to get to the World Series, or this season will not be very successful for them. They have been that good in the regular season this year.
Two balls and 2 strikes the count. Infield, outfield straight for Pujols. Got him reaching for that one. And again, Bill, you don't see power hitters spoil pitches like he's done already 3 times in this at bat.
About as short a swing as you're ever going to see. I don't care if there's no strikes or 2 strikes, and they're very quiet. Hands don't move until that ball is on its way to home plate. Just trying to make contact, and as strong as he is, doesn't have to swing hard.
Reggie Sanders waits on deck. We're glad you're with us tonight. And to the right side. Let's see if it's deep enough. You got Womack at third. I'm sure that it is. He tags. The throw toward the plate is not in time. 1-0 St. Louis Cardinals. Albert Pujols now has 113 RBIs.
Doesn't even have to hit it hard because there's always somebody on base in front of Pujols. That's how good this offense is.
That was a great at bat, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. He kept fouling off some tough pitches. And finally, De La Rosa, although Pujols didn't hit it all that hard, hit it hard enough into right field. And as you mentioned, leadoff hitter Tony Womack runs very well.
Speaking of running well, how about veteran Reggie Sanders? He's gone over the 20 stolen base mark this year with 21. He's a man who 4 times now in his career has had 20-20 seasons. The very well-traveled but always successful Reggie Sanders. And the infield is in for the Brewers. De La Rosa misses.
Some pretty good numbers for a guy that, you know, was kind of an afterthought. You just shove him into the outfield. Everybody figured Ray Langford was going to get a lot of playing time out there, but 65 RBIs and 22 home runs. Not too bad. And it's been a good career for him.
Good fastball, something worth looking at, but it misses. 93 miles an hour from the young left-hander. Bullpen coach Billy Castro, upon seeing De La Rosa a couple of times this spring, said clearly he reminds me of a young Teddy Higuera.
Well, he doesn't have the breaking ball with Teddy Higuera, not quite yet. And the changeup. I mean, the fastball's there. I mean, it is very similar to one Teddy threw. Not a whole lot of movement on it. Good velocity. Finishes up pretty well. But he's got to be able to get ahead and throw the breaking ball. That's something he hasn't been able to do in his first 2 starts. That pitch right there. A little bit overthrowing it, trying to throw it too hard.
But he will get a couple of opportunities to start here in the major leagues and a chance to make the rotation this spring. 3-0 the count on Sanders. You know, we've talked about the Brewers and their pitching. Ned Yost mentioned before the game the one thing he knows is, out of this horrible second half, is he has seen some pitching that he knows he can build upon. Look at September, what this club has done. Unfortunately, look at the wins and the losses.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and certainly you can point your finger at the offense, but I think since the All-Star break, defense hasn't been as good as it was in the first half, and anytime you give teams extra outs, even good pitching is going to suffer.
3 balls and 1 strike the count. Larry Walker waits on deck. Good fastball, but again it misses. Didn't miss by much. And all young pitchers, Bill, have got to get used to the fact that you better pound the strike zone a little bit if you want to get anything just off the corners.
Well, maybe in AAA this is a strike, but not in the big leagues. Didn't miss by much. Reggie Sanders knows the strike zone, and so does Joe West behind home plate. Now, young pitchers have to prove to umpires that they are going to be around the plate and throwing strikes before they're going to get anything on the corner. Especially that guy right there, Joe West.
West, Reed, Paul Emmel, and Mike DeMiro around the bases. And the meeting is over. It's a consistency thing, Bill. I mean, in this inning, on this season, you can see it. You can see the stuff is there. I mean, when you're a lefty and you can throw the ball 93, 94 miles an hour, you've got the stuff.
Well, and again, I think that he's going to be a decent major league pitcher, whether it be a starter or a reliever. But again, it's just all nerves. Getting ready for the pregame show today, about 6:20 down in the field. You know, he was already sitting in the dugout. Or actually 10 of 6. I get messed up because of the difference in time, time of the start of the game.
We're with you.
Yeah, it's 6:30 start, so at about 10 of 6, he was sitting in the dugout looking up at the crowd and looking at the stadium. Still a little bit starstruck being here in the major leagues. Tough to pitch that way.
There's that breaking ball you talked about. De La Rosa ends up making the play. Wasn't hit very high. He may have been the most logical person to make it. Rarely, if ever, do you want a pitcher to catch a pop-up, but he does. It's a pretty good breaking ball.
Yeah, it was. And Larry Walker, very uncharacteristic of Larry Walker. You don't see him make outs like that early in the count. Again, that ball was hit so poorly that De La Rosa, the only guy that could have taught it.
Edgar Renteria hitting just .219 against Milwaukee this year. That is a big departure, though, because about the 3 or 4 previous seasons he had hammered Brewers pitching and a chance to do some damage with 2 outs. Good looking bender right there, floats over the inside corner. 0-1 the count.
There's nothing wrong with throwing a breaking ball like that first pitch. They don't have to be perfect. Later in the count, they've got to be a little bit better than that, though.
De La Rosa's 2 starts on the 14th of August against Florida. Not so bad. I mean, 5 innings, 4 runs allowed. That's not sparkling, but that's not tragic either. Bullpen let him down. It was an 11-1 Brewers loss. But on September the 5th against Cincinnati, he was roughed up. An inning and 2/3, 5 runs. As that one misses in. Bill mentioned the positives from AAA. 85 and 2/3 innings, 80 hits. And a strikeout total of 86. He was 5 and 6 with an ERA of 4.52.
Walk to strikeout ratio, about 2.5 strikeouts for every walk. That's very good.
1-1 the count. On the shortstop, goes after a breaking ball high in the zone. 1-2. Edgar scuffling lately, 8 for his last 55. That's a 145 clip.
Not very often you see Edgar Renteria at this point in the season down around 280. He's been around 300 just about every year. Tried to waste a fastball. Renteria wouldn't bite.
You know, as Edgar and his Cardinal teammates chase rings, I mean, that's their goal, to win the World Series, as Bill said. It is important to remember Renteria has been down that road. He won a ring with the '97 Marlins. This time, though, he goes back to the dugout. De La Rosa getting out of it. All things considered, not a bad inning.
Love this spot.
Pop,
Yeah, son.
there's something I gotta tell you.
I've got unbeerman-like conduct on Timmy. Giving Dad a beer with less taste, that's a loss of respect. Inheritance, decline. Replacing with great tasting, less filling Miller Lite. Half the carbs is Bud Light. We've also got unoriginal tattoo on Timmy, tribal armband design,
Everybody's got
attempting
one
to
of
fit in. Play beer.
Miller. Good call.
Everything's so fresh.
I wonder who her caterer is.
It's me. I'm the caterer. Please. Come on, Patricia, who is it?
I got everything at Jewel. What, you think I have a fancy chef back there with a tall white hat and a funny accent?
Can I have his number?
Jewel, helping make your life easy.
Toyota offers 5 different SUVs.
Choice is good.
And all 5 were named an excellent value.
Nice.
4Runner has an available 235 horsepower V8, and Highlander seats up to 7.
I like that.
And the cool RAV4 gets 30 miles per gallon.
The road to happiness.
Yeah, baby.
Get 0% financing for 36 months on RAV4, 4Runner, or Highlander, or take $750 cash on Highlander. See your Toyota dealer.
It could have been a lot worse, and just having that one matchstick up there under the run column, not so bad. Let's see if the Brewers can get something going offensively. Let's look at the Dodge starting lineup. Scotty Poe, a nice year against St. Louis. He's over 60 stolen bases now in the season. Unique lineup, though. It's Pacetic, Durrington, and then Hall. It's Jenkins, Branyan, and Magruder. Helms plays first, Johnson catches, and De La Rosa bats ninth. Matt Morris, Bill, you could say he's been an up-and-down pitcher this year. The bottom line is he's pitching for his 16th win tonight.
And he's been pitching pretty well since the All-Star break. Got a no decision his last start. Really got roughed up against San Diego. He got a loss, but before that, 3 consecutive wins. So Matt Morris starting to pitch well just at the right time for the Cardinals.
And he fires a strike on the bottom part of the strike zone. Pacetic in the hole, 0-1. Scott in the midst of a 3-game hitting streak. He hit in all 3 games in Houston. A dandy curveball runs it to 0-2. 30-year-old right-hander. As that one is pounded foul, the 30-year-old right-hander who is 87 and 51 in his major league career with an ERA of about 3.5.
Now this year an ERA at 4.62, but he's 15-9. No, you got to keep those kind of numbers away from Ben Sheets.
I know.
Ben Sheets 11-12 with an ERA at 2.8. You think he's jealous?
I hope he is.
He should be, because I'll tell you what, Matt Morris has a pretty good offense backing him up.
I hope that man is jealous, and he should be. That means he wants to win. Sheets on Friday night. I'm sure a lot of you read about it or listened to it. A 1-0 loser to Roy Oswalt. Or I should say 2-1 loser to Oswalt as Pacetic goes down on strikes. Let's take a look at the defense that goes to work for the Cardinals, and one of the best, even though he's a veteran in right field. There's our Rico defense. Sanders, Taguchi, and Walker. A great throwing arm out there. It's Luna, Renteria, Womack, and Pujols on the infield. Mike Matheny, the veteran catcher behind the plate.
Yeah, Doug Davis was the 1-0 loser yesterday to Roger Clemens. And incidentally, Roger Clemens drove in the only run of the ball game. Wasn't an RBI, it was a double play ball, but still the only run. Another very good start wasted. Doug Davis, 1 run last night.
The third Australian to play in the big leagues for the Brewers is Trent Durrington. He's in the hole 0-2. Dave Nilsson did it in the mid-90s, 92-99. Graham Lloyd about the same time.
They were battery mates for a while.
And Durrington passing up a chance to play in the summer games this year in Greece, while his Australian teammates won a silver medal. Wanted to stay here and play in the big leagues. And that one was pounded foul.
I don't blame him.
He was torn, though. I mean, it's one of those things where you know the choice is a pretty easy one. But once you make it, it's, you know, the emotions are challenging.
Well, you know, 4 years he may be able to play for Australia again. You never know, but he only have one opportunity perhaps to play in the major leagues.
Boy, Morris so far has his A game as Pasetnik strikes out. Durrington follows up with a swinging K.
He's got good stuff, good fastball. He locates very well, keeps it down in the strike zone, and a nasty overhand curveball. That pitch going straight down. Mike Matheny, one of the best in the business, and making all pitches look good. 2 up and 2 strikeouts.
The right-hander's added a cut fastball that he uses occasionally this year. But that's the pitch that he will always lean on, the sinking fastball along with the curveball. Fastball sinks low. 1-1 the count on Bill Hall. Hall had just 1 at bat in that Houston series. All 3 games had just 1 at bat. He's hitless in his last 6 overall. As the fastball dives down and in, 2-1 the count. 9 home runs and 52 RBIs for the Mississippi native. There's the cut fastball that we were talking about. It's 3-1. Just a little bit of movement at the end. Almost makes it look like a slider.
Yep, just enough. Now the Brewers are to lay one on Matt Morris on opening day in St. Louis. Morris pitched 6 innings, gave up 7 runs. Pitching much better right now, however. And the Brewers, as we talked about on the open, caught the Cardinals a pretty good time first 4 games. Guys were experiencing some nagging injuries. There's the line we were talking about. 5 walks, uncharacteristic for Matt Morris.
Curveball popped up right side. Albert Pujols gives it a look, and he can't make the play.
He is human.
One of the rare times that he looks human.
He's that good. And they talk about his offense all the time, but you know, you talk to the folks with the Cardinals, they say his defense has been unbelievable. He scuffled over at third base his first couple of years. They moved him to left, and with the departure of Tino Martinez, now a first baseman, and a pretty good one.
3-2 the count. Cut fastball hit on the ground. Pujols feeds Morris. Morris beats Hall to the bag. A 1-2-3 inning. The Brewers go down without much of a fight.
At the model year-end clearance, things are moving fast. Come in now to get huge deals on the best selection of the remaining 2004 Dodges. Grab the tough Dodge Ram 1500 Quad Cab with 0% financing plus $2,500 in bonus cash for a total savings of up to $8,100. Or grab huge cash allowances on the rugged Dakota or the roomy Durango, plus our 770 powertrain limited warranty. So hurry in for the best selection of 04s during the Dodge model year-end clearance.
You love football, so do we. Fox Football Friday.
Yay! This Friday, we go around the leagues to see what's hot and preview the top games for the weekend.
You need to know, we'll tell you.
Well, I tell you what, second is not good enough.
Ooh, that's not nice.
Previews, predictions, and much, much more right here on Fox Football Friday.
Get over there and compete for a spot.
Yes!
This show does not work unless you get involved.
Fox Football Friday, only on Fox Sports World, America's soccer channel.
We're in great shape.
Now, there's a place where college never ends. Fox College Sports, the network that brings you the most comprehensive college sports coverage anywhere. With unprecedented live event coverage, coaches shows, and news from the biggest and the best of the NCAA. This is the network college sports fans always dreamed of. For more information on Fox College Sports, log on to foxcollegesports.com.
You're watching FSN.
It's the top of the second inning. We're glad you're with us tonight as St. Louis leads Milwaukee by a score of 1-0. Left-hander Jorge De La Rosa is completing his warm-up tosses. Bottom three, it's Mike Matheny, Hector Luna, and Matthew Morris, as his official name is, or Matt Morris, the pitcher. Former Brewer Mike Matheny, 249, 5 home runs, 45 RBIs. You look at what this guy's been able to do, Bill. We know he can hit enough to help the team, but in the 03-04 seasons combined, behind the plate, 1 error.
110 games this year, almost an off year for Mike Matheny. He was on a disabled list for a little bit, but again, here's a guy that normally is going to catch you 130, 140 games. One of the best defensive catchers in the game. Always like watching Mike go about his business back there.
And he continues to hit the baseball. He has now hit in 7 of 8, and he has always, and I mean clearly always, hit the Milwaukee Brewers. 57 games now against Milwaukee, hitting better than .335.
You don't want to make a mistake up in the strike zone with Matheny. I mean, you can see the way he holds the bat, his stance. He's spread out, just trying to make contact, not trying to overswing. You give him a pitch middle in, he's going to hit it hard, and you get it up for him. Elevated, he can't hit the ball out of the ballpark. You make your pitches on him, you can get him out. But a leadoff double for the Cardinals. Everybody hits on this team,
including Rule 5 selection Hector Luna, although he's hitting just .225, couple of home runs and 19 RBIs. He's got a roll and fouled a ball off his foot about 10 days ago in Los Angeles, and in that same at bat ended up hitting a double while he ran the bases. His calf muscle, Achilles muscle, or his Achilles tendon did not respond well, and I think he has a minor tear in his calf, and they're going to give him a little bit more time off.
One of the advantages of a 14.5 game lead. Rest your superstar. You talked about possible MVP candidates. We didn't even mention Scott Rowland. He leads this club in RBIs.
But we mentioned Edgar Renteria, folks. We didn't want to leave him out. To the right side it goes. Helms has a play at third. How about that? And Matheny is out. That's a nice play by Wes Helms. You knew what Luna was trying to do. He was trying to move the runner over.
Well, you got the catcher running, and you got probably the best throwing arm at first base in a long time. Wes Helms has got a cannon over there, a one hopper. And not too many first base are going to make that throw.
I agree.
They're going to concede the guy going over to third base, get the shore out. The advantage of having a guy like Helms at first. What an arm he's got.
And anything positive goes into that memory bank for Wes Helms from this day forward. Slash is on, the runner goes. Johnson can't grip the ball, so Luna steals it.
They would have had him. I mean, that was a hit and run. Tony La Russa pulling out all the tricks tonight. Putting the hit and run off of the pitcher up there. He swings the bat pretty well. No sacrifice bunt. Pull it back. Runner goes. Pitch right down the middle. And if Johnson had a good grip on that, Luna would have been out by plenty.
The pitch from the left-hander misses in. Morris 9 for 61 this year. Has 6 RBIs. And a couple of those, as you can see, have come against the Brewers. Just getting underway, top of the second. Cardinals lead it 1-0. 1-2 the count.
Yeah, those RBIs against the Brewers came on opening day. That start, he hit a double in the fourth, driving in 2 runs.
Off of Brewers ace Ben Sheets.
Kind of remembered that.
That's well done. I tell you what, it's like a steel cage in there, that memory. Once it goes in, it never comes out.
Actually, it's the year-long scorebook that I travel with me. It's always with me every game that we've done this year.
Now let me ask you something.
And that one's easy to find, the first one.
The first game?
Yeah.
And you remembered, though, to look back. You remembered he got that RBI in the first game. Wow, just missed. Now, you're falling asleep at night, and it's late, and you're kind of tired, but you want to get a good read of something in before you drift off into Neverland. Do you grab a novel, or do you go over your scorebook?
No, I'm watching IMAX.
Okay. So no reading involved.
No.
Broken bat into center field. Scott has to play it on a bounce. They're going to stop Luna. And Matt Morris has another hit against the Brewers pitcher.
Well, this time no RBI, but still, with Mott Morris up, I mean, he shattered his bat in about 5 places. Scotty still couldn't get there, playing relatively deep for the pitcher. You see where he has to come all the way in, not able to do it. Not a bad decision, not trying to make a shoestring catch. The ball gets by him. Luna's going to score.
Okay, so the logical question for you is, why in the world do you play about the same depth for a pitcher hitting as you do for a regular 1 through 8 in the lineup?
I don't know.
Okay.
No, that's the point I was making. He was playing deep.
Runners on first and third, 1 out. Tony Womack singled and scored back in the first inning as the pitch misses high. 37 infield hits for Womack.
He can run. I mean, he's a guy that early in his career would strike out a lot, but hits down on the ball, chops it, runs hard. He can bunt. Any way to get on base in this lineup.
Into right field, Magruder has to drift back, and that will be another run for the St. Louis Cardinals. So the inability of Johnson to throw out Luna and having Luna advance, and Scott Posednik playing very deep for the pitcher, cost the Brewers a run.
Now you wonder why the Cardinals are 46 games over 500. 2 times they had a man at third, less than 2 outs. It's happened 3 times, and they've driven in a run twice. I mean, these guys very fundamentally sound, a veteran ball club that, you know, Womack going up there, understanding his job, drive the run in somehow. Not too much worried about the batting average, just trying to drive in the run.
Breaking ball misses high to So Taguchi. We're talking about those infield hits for Womack. I mean, he is playing like the Redbirds used to play back in the early 90s and into the 80s. Even though it's a power-laden lineup, you mentioned those 37 infield hits. That puts him in a single season amongst guys like Vince Coleman and Ozzie Smith.
And they had the AstroTurf at Busch Stadium. Now you got to play a little bit deeper on the AstroTurf. You might be able to get a few more infield hits, but I don't know. I think the grass deadens the ball pretty well for a guy that runs.
Nearly a fair ball. We'll do it now with a 2-1 count.
I know it's a lot easier to bunt on natural grass.
Well, think about that, Bill. Tony Womack and what he has done this year as he drives in that run with a sac fly. He was basically unwanted by the Boston Red Sox this spring. No need for him.
Well, they had Pokey Reese over at second base. Nomar at short. Expendable. Cardinals glad they've got him.
Taguchi drives that one into the corner and right, but that one is foul.
Tony Womack's played a lot of different positions in his career. At the outfield with the Pittsburgh Pirates, second base, shortstop with the Diamondbacks. Pokey Reese has been on the disabled list just about all season with Boston, and Nomar is now with the Cubs.
And they went out and got a speed guy from the Dodgers in Dave Roberts. Interesting how things work out as the year goes along. Now here's the important lesson that you all need to remember. Neither team is hurting right now. Neither team is hurting.
And the Red Sox have a nice lead in that wild card in the American League.
Tonight, Boston hosting Baltimore. Top of the 4th, scoreless game. Taguchi on the ground, base hit left field. So Taguchi, as we mentioned, a last-minute addition to the lineup, already has reached twice tonight.
Well, and the inability of De La Rosa to throw that breaking ball over. It would be a nice spot for it. You make the comparison of he and Teddy Higuera. I mean, that would have been a classic Teddy Higuera slider situation right there, 3-2. Over time, he's going to learn to be able to have enough confidence in that pitch to throw it on 3-2. Every one of the guys in that lineup for the Cardinals know it's going to be fastballs when he's behind the count. And it makes hitting a lot easier.
Important to remember for the left-hander that his last start was actually a simulated game, not because he was injured, but because manager Ned Yost did not want to throw a youngster like De La Rosa out there against Barry Bonds and the Giants, as the Giants are chasing in that wild card race and even in the division, and Bonds was chasing history. So you reward young man, pitching a simulated game so you can face Albert Pujols. Breaking ball pounded. Branyan, nice play going up the ladder. And Durrington gets to the bag in time. The Cardinals had another run. It's 2-0 St. Louis.
Yo, Monica.
Thank you.
It's your move.
This is so fun. I've never really played this game.
Okay, I've got Roughing the Palate on Keith, giving his date a beer with less flavor. Not cool. Replacing with genuine flavored, cold filtered, smooth Miller Genuine Draft. Oh boy. We've also got a noticeable unibrow on Keith. That's a no second date penalty. Still single. Play beer.
What? Miller. Good call.
Your mom took these? They're amazing.
Yeah. I wonder how she got them.
Download photos faster with SBC Yahoo DSL. Sign up online for just $26.95 a month and get 100 free prints from Yahoo Photos.
If a concert hall can be acoustically tuned, if a 60,000-seat stadium can have a retractable roof, if an 80-ton bullet train can glide on air, why not your SUV? At GMC, our engineers don't just ask questions, they have answers. The GMC Envoys. Get $7,500 total cash back on a new 2004 Envoy XUV. See the pros at your select GMC dealers.
Here's another winning experience from the Wisconsin Lottery.
Dennis McCarthy of Salem won $5,000 on Powerball.
That's a great bit. I love that. Look at the young lady wearing the blonde wig there as she sits with her boyfriend. I love that. 2-0 the score. Don't forget, Saturday, September the 25th. And remember, again, this game is about noon. It's at 12:25 against the Astros. Fan Appreciation Day compliments of Potawatomi Bingo Casino and the Brewers. All fans will receive a collectible team photo card, the opportunity to win a lot of prizes, including a new car and a post-game drawing. Again, that game is at 12:25. Don't come at 6 o'clock. It will be over. We hope.
Yeah, you would think.
Jeff Jenkins takes a pitch wide of the plate, and for Jeff, it has been a strong finish. He was 4 for 11 with a homer in Houston. His last 24 games, he's hitting .352.
Well, 2 weeks left, and Jeff Jenkins can conceivably finish with 100 RBIs. I mean, he'd have to get red hot. And the way the Brewers have been scoring runs, highly unlikely, but you never know. I mean, things can turn around. There 14 games left.
Jenkins lines it into center field. That's a base hit.
13 games left.
And the hitting continues for Jeff. Very nice approach against Morris. He, before that at bat, was 2 for 15 against Matt with 8 strikeouts.
Well, and again, you can see Jeff not trying to pull the baseball, just dropping the head of the bat on it. Nice short swing. Morris elevated that baseball for him a little bit. He was able to dump it into the outfield.
Brewers down 2-0. Here's Russell Branyan, who hits it hard and into right field. A base hit. Jenkins will hold up at second. The Brewers have something going. A couple of hits back to back. Just past the outstretched glove of Albert Pujols and into right.
Normally the plan, the approach against Matt Morris is if you get a fastball early in the count that you feel like you can handle, go after it. You don't want to be in a situation to have to hit that curveball. And that's what Branyan did. That pitch right down the middle. You can see Matheny reach for it over the plate. He wanted it on the corner. Right down the middle, and Branyan made him pay for it with a base hit.
Runners on first and second for Milwaukee. Here's Chris Magruder. Magruder was, for the second time, recalled to the major leagues on August 4th. Since then, he's been hitting and getting a little bit lucky. Rich Donnelly stops Jeff Jenkins at third, so the bases are loaded. And nobody out after the error by Tony Woback.
Don't see that very often. I tell you what, it looked like a double play ball, and normally it is. Rich Donnelly with nobody out, didn't want to make an out at home plate. That one rolls right up the glove of Tony Womack and into right field, and slowed it down enough. Walker had a long way to go to get it, but bases loaded, nobody out. I think if Jenkins went all the way, I would have scored easily.
Wes Helms in his career against Morris has had some success. He's 5 for 15 with a home run. And a couple of road trips ago in Cincinnati, Helms did hit a grand slam home run. He just has 4 long balls on the year, had a long stretch from just prior to his knee surgery until a couple of weeks ago that he went homerless. Well over 100 at bats.
Yeah, there's why he's swinging the first pitch. 3 consecutive Brewer hitters swung at first pitch fastballs from Matt Morris, and 2 of them put in play. That curveball's nasty. It's wicked. He's got good location on it. Keeps it down in the strike zone when he's ahead.
In their last 6 games, the Brewers have just 9 hits with runners in scoring position, a 188 batting average. And it's no surprise they are winless in those 6 games as Matheny and Morris get together.
On the Brewers' 6-game losing streak, they've scored all of 7 runs. And that's frustrating for a pitching staff, and it's frustrating for the hitters as well.
A look at the numbers during that skid as well shows more strikeouts than hits for the Milwaukee Brewers. And hopefully the tide starts to turn tonight. One and one the count. Helms waves at a pitch down and away. We'll do it now. 1-2.
When you see that curveball, you see it starting up around the belt, you figure, okay, it's a hanger, but it disappears. Can't put a big swing on that pitch.
Curveball, got it. There is a big out, especially with the bases loaded and nobody out.
And now you wonder why Brewer hitters are going after that first pitch fastball. This pitch right here is tough to hit. I mean, that started out about the shoulders, ended up around the shoe tops. Tough pitch.
Mark Johnson 0 for 4 this year in the big leagues. Hit .259 in AAA this season. Jenkins singled, Branyan singled. Magruder reached on an error by the second baseman Tony Womack. There was a bit of a question at the time as to whether Rich Donnelly could have sent Jeff Jenkins home.
And really the point should be moved because, you know, you got bases loaded, nobody out. You figure you're going to be able to get a couple of runs in.
With this team recently?
Well, I don't know. I mean, with nobody out, I guess the bottom of the order. You just don't want to run it. You don't want to run into an out at home plate with nobody out. I don't care how many runs you're scoring.
Popped up, very shallow left field. Jenkins tag it. Heads toward the plate. The throw. Cut off. Branyan out. The Brewers do get a run. They trail it by a score of 2-1. Mark Johnson with his first big league RBI this year.
You need to race the rain. You need to outrun the sun. You need to be 2 places at once. That's why you need rock-solid energy products and people you can depend on. Cenex. Our energy comes through.
The 2004 Mercury Mountaineer gives you a lot for a little. Room for up to 7? Got it. 81.4 cubic feet of cargo space? Got it. Highest owner loyalty in its class? Got it. No charge leather trimmed seating? Got it. And an over $600 Weber gas grill? Got it. And you can get it all now with up to $5,500 cash back or 0% APR for 60 months. See your local Lincoln Mercury dealer today before they're all gone.
Get primetime savings on Zinsser primers from Menards. Fast Prime adheres to any glossy surface without sanding. It's great for covering dark or bright colors. In oil or water-based formulas, just $9.84 a gallon. Make painting and other household tasks easier with the world's greatest stepladder from Costco. It features oversized treads, built-in parts trays, and a space-saving fold-up design. On sale just $69.99. Step up to big savings at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
You're watching FSN North.
Milwaukee Brewers baseball on FSN North is presented by Menards. Save big money at Menards. And by Rico. How well do you print, copy, scan, and fax? How well do you share? It was one of those days, wasn't it? Just a gorgeous day on the lake. One of those days where the youngsters, I'm sure at school, played outside all day when they had the chance, and therefore when nightfall comes, much to the delight of many moms, they close their eyes and drift off into Neverland. We're glad you're with us tonight. The Brewers do get a run back. Cardinals now lead at 2-1. Reggie Sanders, Larry Walker, and Edgar Renteria. I think we're doing all right together, by the way, seeing as how we haven't done a game together since Wednesday.
Yeah, I know. You've been doing some baseball, though, out there in Seattle.
That was interesting.
Didn't get an opportunity to watch you and Psycho Lions on Papa Fox, but from all reports, everything went well.
Well, it was on in Seattle. I think that's about it.
Okay.
1-0 the count to Reggie Sanders.
I looked. I really did. I looked hard.
They said on the grid, they have a grid where it is shown of different parts of the nation. It was on in, of course, Washington. And California got the separate California games. Bond's game was on in the Bay Area. And Flint, Michigan.
Well, you know, you had the Yankees and Red Sox.
Well, the Yankees and Red Sox, oddly enough, Bill, and this will make sense to you. If, in fact, Bonds would not have hit a home run on Friday night, if he was going for 700 on Saturday, the Yankees and Red Sox, as Sanders is erased, literally would have been on in New York and Boston, period.
Wow.
And I'm thinking that the game that we televised, Seattle and Oakland, might have only been on in-house at Safeco Field.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's tough competition.
But he did get the home run.
Yeah, it is tough competition with the Yankees and Sox.
It was fun, though.
Yeah. Good for you.
These two teams, actually, as they played together, the Brewers and Cardinals, you had an opportunity a couple of seasons ago to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Those shows are fun, and I think you would agree with this. But they are maybe busier. Is that the right word?
They are filled with stuff. Yep.
0-1 the count on Larry Walker. Speaking of that, if Walker makes it out, we'll have a promo for you momentarily.
Like ours aren't, right?
Walker popped up to the pitcher back in the first inning. As that one misses low and inside, 2-1 the count. I was reminded that Tim Hudson can flat out pitch, I'll tell you that. As that one is pounded foul.
That whole staff, not too bad. You catch any of them, you're going to get a good pitching performance. And Ichiro, I gotta imagine he was a lot of fun to watch about this time of year. How many has he got now?
Let's look. I must admit I paid no attention yesterday to the Mariners and A's after spending the week figuring out who they were. Russell Branyan is there to make the play while Bill looks that up. We will remind you, Thursday, the best sports show period gets in the ring to bring you a heavyweight championship fight that you can't see anywhere else. James Lights Out Tony takes on Rydell Booker with the IBA heavyweight title on the line. The best heavyweight championship period is live at 8 o'clock, only on FSN North.
Yeah, I'm real sorry, but we don't have the American League leaders in here.
236 hits. My official Fox Network statistician, Brian Michalogic, sends me.
We've got the National League leaders, but not American League.
236 chasing 257 set by the St. Louis Browns' George Sisler back in 1920. And tonight, Seattle visits Anaheim. Good looking play by Wes Elms. A couple of plays in this ballgame. Looks good out there.
The Max
Max.com, where you'll see virtually every home listing in the region and find your most valuable home asset, a professional RE/MAX agent. Homes to the Max.com. Log on and let's get moving. Powered by RE/MAX.
The 265 horsepower Nissan Maxima, the 245 horsepower Nissan Murano. Performance, style, quality. Two vehicles in perfect harmony. Get $1,000 cash back or 2% financing on Muranos and Maximas. $1,000 cash or 2%. Music to your ears.
Everything's so fresh.
I wonder who her caterer is.
It's me. I'm the caterer. Please. Come on, Patricia. Who is it?
I got everything at Jewel. What, you think I have a fancy chef back there with a tall white hat and a funny accent?
Can I have his number?
Jewel, helping make your life easy.
And we are dancing, and you're dangerous, dear me. I get ideas, and after we have kissed goodnight, still you linger.
Rico moves your ideas forward.
I think you get ideas too.
2-1 Redbirds, bottom of the third. Well, one team that is very happy that the St. Louis Cardinals clinched their division already, besides the Cardinals themselves, is the visiting clubhouse team. They are already battening down the hatches, which is good because they have time to prepare and get that done before the champagne begins to fly. Now, in 2001, when the Arizona Diamondbacks clinched their division here at Miller Park, they won their game, had to go back in the clubhouse and wait out a 4-hour game on the West Coast between the Giants and Dodgers. When that ended, finally, the first cork finally popped out at 1:30 in the morning. The team bus went back to the hotel, I'm told, about 4:30 in the morning. And by the way, the Cardinals crew, they provide the champagne. Our guys provide the cleanup.
Very nice. Phil Rosowitz and his crew.
I tell you, they work hard. I mean, those guys, they get there. They were at the ballpark yesterday waiting for the Cardinals truck to arrive. They unpack everything, wash everything, and have everything waiting for the guys when they show up today. That is a very hard-working group, both home and road. Visiting clubhouse guys. And home.
It's pretty high-profile visitors over the last couple of series. You have Barry Bonds and his group last time. This time, the best team in baseball in the St. Louis Cardinals. Scott Pasednik is 0 for 2 today. Let's take a look ahead at our upcoming television schedule, brought to you by our good friends with Miller. We'll be with you against St. Louis, and we will not on Thursday, but then we will take you on Friday and Sunday against the Houston Astros. Again, Friday and Sunday against the Houston Astros. You can catch Saturday's game, Brewers and the Astros, on Fox here in town.
With Darren Sutton doing the honors again. Are you going to talk to me in the offseason? We've been through this.
I'll quote you and then say no, because it's the offseason. We don't speak in the offseason anyway. Because I took you down that road the last time you were a big network guy.
Yeah, but again, you know, we're going to have a week together in Arizona and St. Louis.
And that'll probably wrap it up. I'll see you in Arizona next year.
Just remember, I knew you win.
Bad boy. Phil.
De La Rosa trying to fight his way through this outing, but still his ball game. And I knew you win. You were a big leaguer. And I was shining your shoes after the game. I'll do it again soon if you'd like. 2-1.
Thursday on FSN. Undefeated Rydell Booker meets James Lights Out Tony on a special live presentation of the Best Damn Sports Show period, with ringside commentary from Max Kellerman. It's the IBA World Heavyweight Championship. It's live, and it's only on FSN. Thursday, live.
Focus Focus and a Dell, a Focus and a Dell. Get the car and you'll go far with a Focus and a Dell. A no-charge Dell PC, a no-charge Dell PC. The printer's fat, the monitor's flat. A no-charge Dell PC.
Get into any 2005 Ford Focus with 0% financing or $2,000 cash back, and get a Dell computer with a flat panel monitor and printer at no extra charge.
A Focus and a Dell.
Being an impact player isn't just about having talent. It's about focus, intensity, and how you play the game. It's the way we play.
Every Wednesday home game in September, make plans to visit the Right Field Concourse for Women on Wednesday, presented by Kohl's and the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. September's theme is fitness, health, and wellness. Plus, the first 5,000 fans 17 and older will receive a Kohl's $10 gift, good toward your next $50 Kohl's department store visit.
Don't forget, stop by the Right Field Level Concourse every Wednesday home game, including this Wednesday against the Cards for Women on Wednesdays. You can check out special displays and demonstrations. It's compliments of Kohl's department stores and the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Tonight, the Milwaukee Brewers in a, I guess you call it a promotion that some of you might have heard about, actually greeted the fans at the gates as they came in. We're at the turnstiles thanking them for their support this year.
I like it.
I like it too.
Should do that every game.
Run that one by the players, see how that works out.
That wouldn't be too good. I don't think they'd like that too much.
Every game?
Every game.
Probably not. Maybe another time or two, not a bad idea though. 1-1 the count on Mike Matheny. Well, you have done a nice job this year, Midwest baseball fans. The Brewers will draw over $2 million.
Awesome, isn't it? Who'd have thunk it?
Well, it's awesome. Borderline hard to fathom. I mean, you're talking about a club that has really struggled in the second half, that is 62-85. Matter of fact, in the second half, a club that has only won a handful of times at home. But because of a first half, the Brewers bought themselves some loyalty from these fans and some added support. Hall fields, a little spin, and he fires. Good looking play by the athletic Bill Hall. All right, let's see if you can answer tonight's Aflac trivia question.
Aflac!
Who was the first Canadian duo to hit a home run in the same game? They were Canadian, they homered, and they did it in the same game.
Well, Larry Walker's got to be one of them. Big hockey fan. Now, is he going to be a St. Louis Blues fan now? Now that he's out of Colorado?
I would imagine he could be a Milwaukee Admirals fan now because they'll be playing. The NHL will not.
Yeah, it doesn't look good, does it?
Don't want to disappear from the consciousness of the sports fans.
Yeah, the fireball owners are locking them out, right? They're locked out officially. I talked to Gary Thorne, and we were here in Miller Park, and you know, Gary Thorne does a lot of hockey. I mean, he is the voice of hockey.
A good one.
He says that there probably won't be a season.
What a shame that is.
It is a shame. I'm telling you.
Fastball, life on it, but it misses away. That's a good 0-2 pitch.
Of course, I don't think Gary Thorne would be very happy if I told him that I said that over the air that he told me that, but you never know.
That's just one man's opinion.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you have one man's opinion on something about hockey, I think he's a good one. Pretty reliable source.
2 balls and 2 strikes the count.
I have a tough time believing that any sport in this day and age would do that to the fans. Not anymore. I think baseball learned a valuable lesson, and I hope that the rest of the sports world watched very closely and took notice.
Don't take fans for granted, folks. They have too many options and too many things to do. It was that man, basically, as you saw the McGuire jersey. You do it, Billy. Oh, Wes couldn't hold on.
Probably would have been safe anyway. That ball was hit awfully hard at Russell Brannion, but deflected over to Bill Hall. It's kind of a play that you get from Bill Hall. I mean, so athletic. Outstanding reflexes, very Great deal of athleticism out there, almost able to get the out. And he might have been out had Wes Helms been able to hold on to that baseball. Would have been bang, bang. That'll be an error. Single. Wow. That's generous. Right at Russell Brandon. Didn't even have to move.
Kicked it over to Bill Hall. Hall tried to convert and pick up his teammate. I would imagine Russell Brandon would tell all of us that he should have made that play.
We've seen him make plays like that before.
Just to finish the thought, I mean, and that was a good picture shown before that play. Talking about baseball learning its lesson. That picture of a fan wearing a McGuire jersey, because if it weren't for the 1998 home run race between McGuire and Sosa, and Cal Ripken just a year after becoming baseball's new Iron Man, I think baseball might still be limping. Another hit and run with the pitcher up there, and that is an out.
And Matt Morris thought he was out.
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
He's walking back to the dugout getting ready to pitch, but had to throw up the line a little bit. Tony La Russa really pulling out all the stops here. Pretty good jump. Luna with the slide, and Bill Hall, another athletic play, getting on the back of the leg before Luna had the front leg in. I'll tell you, Bill Hall's had a very interesting inning. A lot of good plays.
A Hall in motion stays in motion.
Until acted upon by an outside force.
That's exactly right. The pitch is high, and Morris draws the walk. So Morris with a single and a walk. And for the young left-hander, 74 pitches now as he works here in the 4th inning.
On the 3rd walk. He's got 3 walks and only 1 strikeout. And that strikeout came in the 1st inning.
Russell Brandon has to play up on the grass. The outfield plays to the opposite field for slap hitter Tony Womack. Maddox wants to go out and speak for a moment. In this game, of the 75 pitches, 37 have been balls, 38 have been strikes for De La Rosa.
Man, you know, it's not just the pitch count. As you talked about, he hasn't thrown a whole lot since coming up here.
No, sir.
2 starts. You mentioned he had to throw a simulated game, and I'll tell you what, a lot of anxiety in every one of those pitches. I mean, the guy's nervous out there, a young pitcher. 74 pitches is expending an awful lot of energy, and he's going to sleep well tonight.
During the commercial break, we could overhear Ned Yost speaking with home plate umpire Joe West, and there was no complaint at all. It was just a little bit of lobbying for his young left-hander, and Ned said he's a young guy out there. He's pretty scared to death. Do your best to help him. Stick with him if you can. He's trying his best. Reminding the veteran manager that this youngster may be battling a lot of emotions tonight.
You bet. Oh, yeah, you bet. You know, just the anxiety and the, you know, the focus, and all day long and probably a couple of days before, it takes a lot out of you. I mean, when you have a high stress day, I mean, you'll be sitting behind a desk and you're stressed out. You're dead tired when you get home.
Into center field, should be the 3rd out, and it is. Overall, the left-hander hanging in there is plucked down just 2-1.
Not too close. What do you think? I got that insurance?
What insurance is that, Yogi?
The one you really need to have. If you don't have it, that's why you need it.
Need what?
Aflac. Well, if you get hurt and miss work, it won't hurt to miss work. And they give you cash, which is just as good as money.
Aflac. Ask about it at work.
The greatest is about to leave his mark. It's the Poker Superstars Invitational. Sunday, only on FSN.
Fox Movie Channel presents 13 Nights of Fright. 13 nights of 20th Century Fox horror classics, hosted by best-selling HarperCollins author Neil Gaiman.
Who are you expecting? The Crypt Keeper?
13 Nights of Fright, with 13 chances to win an incredible HarperCollins prize package of Neil's book signed by the author himself.
Oh, I wrote that.
Fox Movie Channel brings you 13 Nights of Terror. Neil Gaiman's 13 Nights of Fright. 13 Nights of Fright, October 19th through the 31st, with an all-day marathon on Halloween.
Ooh. What happened?
Well, it looks like a strip of metal punctured a tire in the landing gear, which ultimately caused the left wing to erupt into a massive fireball.
Oh, man.
Experience unforgettable stories about the world's most compelling catastrophes. Unlock the chain of events behind what really happened on Seconds from Disaster on the National Geographic Channel. Check your local listings.
You're watching FSN North.
He's had to throw nearly 80 pitches, but Jorge De La Rosa hanging in there for his club. They are down just 2-1 and showing some of the stuff that has earned him the right to be here. 2 runs, 5 hits, and an error for the Cardinals. A run on 2 hits and no errors for the Brewers. And the young left-hander, just 23 years old, out of San Nicolas in Mexico. Your thoughts, Bill, on what you've seen so far?
Well, I'll tell you what, when he relaxes and he learns to get that breaking ball over on 3-2 counts or maybe even 2-2 pitches, I think he's going to have a chance to be a decent pitcher in this level. Just can't continue to throw fastballs in those situations. Big league hitters will wear him out. But you can see the stuff. The stuff is good. The fastball's got good life on it. Got good pop. And when he learns to command it in the strike zone, it'll be a much different story for him.
Hall hits it hard into the right field corner. That one is down, and it bounced high and into the corner for a ground rule double. Disappearing over that wall, so Bill Hall puts the tying run at second base. There's a good start.
Well, Bill Hall didn't see a whole lot of playing time in Houston. Only 1 at bat, I believe it was. But a nice short stroke, taking it to the opposite field. That's Bill Hall when he does his best work. Waiting for that ball to get to him and hammering it to right field.
So a runner in scoring position. Here's Jeff Jenkins. Jeff singled back in the second inning. Has an RBI a game in his last 18 ball games. Let's see if he can make it 19 in 19 games right here. There, of course, exists the possibility, and it appears to be imminent, that by the time the Brewers play baseball next season, there may be a new gentleman or a new group that owns this club and operates the Milwaukee Brewers. I was talking with Jeff about that. He said, I so much respect the opportunity I have been given by this club to play in the big leagues in a wonderful long-term contract, but that being said, it's excited to think of a new era in Brewers baseball.
Yeah, maybe infuse a little bit more capital, maybe buy some players. You never know what's going to happen. You know, sometimes change is good. Change is a lot of times avoided. The old fallacy, sometimes the comfort level is there. You know what you're going to get. But I tell you what, and we're talking about the players. We're talking about front office. Never know what's going to happen with a new owner coming in.
You do have to know so many good things can happen, though. That's the attitude of Jeff Jenkins when I talked with him about it, and it is fair for Jeff to comment on a subject like that. He is the highest paid player on the team. He is the longest serving member of the Brewers. He is a guy that I think it's more than fair to hear him comment on a subject like that.
Well, and he will continue to be a force in his lineup. He just signed a nice deal before the season started.
Breaking ball misses in, and Jenkins draws the walk. Nice job laying off that breaking ball. That was a tight one, very close. All right, let's answer our Aflac trivia question.
Aflac!
First Canadian duo to hit a home run in the same game was the question. Larry Walker. Matt Stairs. Very good. In an interleague game back on June 15th, 1997. Matt Stairs at one point in his career a shortstop for the Canadian national team.
Play a little bit of Oki. Matt Stairs, one of the good guys in this game.
0-1 on Russell. Isn't that the truth?
Yeah, he's the guy that started the buckethead thing.
You're right. I mean, if it wasn't for his ribbing of you.
Of me, yeah. Leaving you alone completely.
Although he said I shouldn't have been left out. And you reminded him that why are you making fun of me when he has a larger head size?
No, I didn't throw you into it. He had no room to talk.
That's true.
Matty, I guess that gives him every right to call somebody a buckethead, right?
I think you're right. To the count on Branyan. Pretty good fastball. It just missed. That was, of course, when Matt Stairs took a bucket like you would see, even larger than that gentleman's, on your utility porch in the back of your house, enough to hold about 150 baseballs. He put a faux bill on that hat in the front and had all of the players sign it as if it was, and it was dubbed Bill Schroeder's batting helmet from his playing days.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about that?
Good stuff. There's all out of admiration, I'm sure.
Oh, look at that curveball. 2-2 the count. He dropped the curveball down and in on him. That's a whale of a pitch right there. Yeah, the runners aren't advanced. That's
nasty. That's why it's so important for the Brewers to attack Morris early in the count. I mean, that's one of the best curveballs you will see. I mean, starts at the shoulders, ends up around the ankles, and throws it very hard. Good break on it. Goes straight down.
And that's why a curveball that is 12-6 on the clock, if you're looking at the clock, as Magruder fouls it off, that breaks straight down like that. Not a slider or a side-to-side breaking curveball, but if you throw that one, all right, from the A all the way down, straight down on that clock, it moved there. That was a little eerie.
Yep, 12-6, that kind of rotation. It's going to give you that that straight downward action.
Like that.
Yeah.
You can throw it, Bill, to righties or lefties. It's equally as effective. It doesn't matter.
And the other thing about it is that it's very difficult for umpires to determine whether it's a strike or a ball. You know, guys with good curveballs like that, very difficult to judge where the catcher catches it, where does it cross home plate. But I'll tell you what, nearly impossible to hit if you keep it down.
There's another one.
And the other thing it does for you, it expands the strike zone of the hitter on that fastball. You saw Chris Magruder with that first pitch fastball, wasn't even a strike. Out of the strike zone high, it might have been away, but he went after it because you know what? He doesn't want any part of that curveball.
Ben Sheets a curveball just like that one. Actually, Sheets, I would say, is a
harder.
Yeah, just a bit superior to Morris's.
Doesn't break as much.
Grounded into left field. That's a base hit. Hall firing around. Donnelly's going to send it. We've got a tie ball game. Nice job, Magruder. Looked like a two-seamer diving down and away from him. He just slapped it the other way.
Well, he got ahead in the count. He was able to lay off some curveballs. Got the count in his favor, and with a couple of men on, Morris didn't want to go 3-1. Magruder didn't try and pull it. It's only the fourth hit of the night for Milwaukee. Pitch was up in the strike zone, just punches it into left field. Renteria shaded way up the middle on Magruder, figuring he wasn't going to do that, but he did. And Bill Hall scores the tying run.
Well, you could see what Matheny wanted to do. He wanted to sneak that one over the inside corner. He had scooted well underneath the knees of Magruder. And that was a missed spot there by Morris. Nice job by Matheny. 1-0 the count on Wes Helms.
Well, even the great ones, even the guys that have been around a long time like Matt Morris, when they don't have command of the fastball, they give up hits. It's not just De La Rosa. Fastball, you know, that keys everything. I mean, it makes the curveball better. If you can't locate the fastball, I don't care who you are, you're going to have a rough night.
Wes Obermueller warming in the bullpen for one reason and one reason only. If the pitcher spot comes up, De La Rosa's out of this game.
Certainly no shortage of men in the bullpen for either one of these clubs.
Little slow roller. The only play is to first, and they make it. Runners advance 90 feet. Second and third. Helms is erased on a 1-3 ground out. 2-2 game, Cardinals and Brewers. And amazingly enough, the Brewers, despite their struggles in the second half and their overall record, which is far below average this year, have a winning record against St. Louis this year. They are 5-4 against the Cardinals, the only team that owns a winning mark against the Cardinals in the major leagues.
And we certainly hope that continues through this week.
Obermueller continues to warm the right-hander. De La Rosa does have a bat. He is in the on-deck circle. Let's see what happens. There's the cut fastball that runs into the hands of Johnson. 0-2 the count.
Neither team setting the world on fire in these situations tonight.
Curveball misses high to Johnson. The White Sox #1 pick back in June of 1994, Mark Johnson, out of Warner Robins High School in Georgia. Actually opened a side business, 6 batting cages in the offseason. He might go back to working those this winter, although I don't think it simulates that last pitch.
Owners are an obsessive bunch.
I wax my truck twice a week. I have a picture of my truck in my bathroom.
There's a lot to love about Toyota trucks, like the full-size Tundra and rugged Tacoma.
Show me the mud.
Especially if you're serious about power.
I haul band equipment.
And Tundra was named a best overall value.
Nice.
Now get low zero financing on Tundra or Tacoma. Or get $1,500 cash on Tundra or $750 on Tacoma. See your Toyota dealer.
The Wisconsin Lottery has noticed that no two players are quite alike, which is why we have an incredible variety of scratch games. Like 4 Gets More, the new $2 instant scratch game with a top prize of $16,000. Instant scratch games. No matter how you play, odds are you like them.
Don't miss the new Miller Lite beer pen in the right field Loge bleachers. Every Friday, fans 21 and older with their $10 ticket will receive a complimentary Brewers t-shirt featuring the retro MB Glove logo. There'll also be special entertainment and prize opportunities in the Miller Lite beer pen.
That young man moments ago shaking it up. It's a 2-2 game. We're glad you're with us, and don't forget to be with us this Sunday, where it's Badger Mutual Insurance Family Day against the Astros. Fans may purchase at least 1 day in advance 4 terrace reserve tickets, which includes 4 hot dogs and 4 small Pepsis for only $36. Good way to end the year here at Miller Park. Each additional person is only $9. Call 414-902-4000. So Taguchi, Albert Pujols, and Reggie Sanders. Taguchi has reached twice tonight. He's walked and he's singled. And he's almost hit the kneecap. From 1992 into 2001 for the Oryx Blue Wave. The Japanese native played professionally over there.
Not easy to get out of the way to that pitch. Pretty light on your feet. That gets most guys.
Hit hard into left field. Jenkins is there. All right, as Albert Pujols walks toward the plate, we've talked about you have Edmonds, you have Rolen, you have Pujols. Who's the Cardinals MVP? Let's ask the Brewers' Lyle Overbeck.
I'm a big fan of Albert Pujols. I mean, he's scores runs, drives in runs. I mean, he's just average. He's everything, power. I mean, it's just an all-around. But you know, there again, Rolen, he's having a year that deserves an MVP. So it's tough to pick one out of those guys, but they're all three deserving.
Well, Albert Pujols might have his third MVP this year had it not been for Barry Bonds. But
isn't that the truth?
You know, Jim Edmonds hit .315, 42 home runs, 110 RBIs. Cardinals with 3 hitters with 100 or more RBIs this year. Incredible. I mean, that's something else. 201 home runs. Second in the league in runs, first in batting average. What else can they do?
Pujols hits it onto the ground. Here's one that surprised me. We haven't seen the Cardinals in a while, and you and I, Bill, have been talking about them today. The St. Louis Cardinals have the best pitching staff in the National League. I think everyone assumes that they do it with power and average pitching. Have the best ERA in the National League. Does that surprise you?
Yeah, it does. I mean, everybody talking about the problems that they've had with their starting rotation, particularly early in the year. Not so much now. I mean, Matt Morris, well, the ERA is up, but he still figures out ways to win. I guess those 200 home runs don't hurt.
No.
You know, Woody Williams and Jason Marquis having a heck of a season.
That's how you win right there, folks. That is how you win. You hit and you pitch. It's pretty simple. Middle of the pack in team defense. Actually, upper middle of the pack. Dodgers fielding percentage .988. Philly, Florida, Colorado .986. Chicago, St. Louis, Montreal .985.
You got 2 of the best setup men from the left side in the game, Steve Klein and Ray King. That helps.
Hit hard. Branyan plays it off to his right. Nice dig over there by another third baseman playing first, Wes Helms. 1, 2, 3 go the Cardinals, and De La Rosa with a little bit of help from his friends. Branyan across the diamond. Nice dig.
On the best damn sports show, period. James, Tony, and Rydell Booker face off in studio. Plus the Giants' Michael Strahan and boxing great Joe Frazier. Tonight at 11.
An ordinary chair, right? Maybe. But on October 25th, guy sits down, borrows 10 quarters from his wife, cranks on the handle, ding, 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 450 G's, just like that. New car, cash for the kids, not to mention the ability to settle up on a little IOU with the missus.
Everything's so fresh.
I wonder who her caterer is.
It's me.
I'm the caterer.
Please, come on, Patricia. Who is it?
I got everything at Jewel. What, you think I have a fancy chef back there with a tall white hat and a funny accent?
Can I have his number?
Jewel, helping make your life easy.
There are plenty of reasons to choose Dodge Grand Caravan over Toyota Sienna and Honda Odyssey. Caravan has stow and go. They don't. Caravan offers a convenient overhead storage system and 12 cubic feet of in-floor storage. They don't. And right now, qualified returning Daimler Chrysler lessees can grab a Caravan with stow and go for just $199 a month and $1,805 due at signing. That means Dodge has your next minivan, and Honda and Toyota don't.
Veteran skipper Tony La Russa looking on his club. Clinched the Central Division with the Cubs' loss in Game 2 of a doubleheader against the Marlins today. Keith Ginter will pinch hit for the young Jorge De La Rosa, who acquitted himself very nicely today. And Ginter drives it high and deep to right field. Allen dives as it goes up against the wall. Ginter with a leadoff double, the leading run at second base. Now there is a well-spent pinch hitter right there. Nice job.
Now the Brewers, for the third inning in this game, 3 of the first 5 innings have their leadoff hitter aboard, and back-to-back innings had a leadoff double. Every inning that they've gotten their leadoff hitter aboard, they've been able to score a run. Ginter taking that ball, letting it back in on him, and hammering that ball to right field. Ginter with a rough night last night against Roger Clemens. Of course, they all did last night against the Rockies. Nice to get that kid a win. Actually, won't be able to get. Yes, he will. Pitched 5 innings. Hey, whoa!
If he does, it will be his first in the major leagues. Scott Podsednik with a chance to drive the run in. And he takes strike 1. Podsednik tonight 0 for 2.
And if nothing else, he's got to get Ginter over to third base. I'll tell you what, Hector Lunar playing very far in at third base. I mean, so far that you wonder if he's going to be able to get back in the event of a stolen base. Puts himself in a very precarious position right there. He is way in at third.
In the corner of your screen, you see him, and the breaking ball nails the strike zone.
Normally, the man at second base, you'd think that the third base would have to hang back just a little bit, but he's backing up a little bit now with 2 strikes, but not much.
Clearly thinking Podsednik will bunt him. He takes in. Two and 2 the count, nobody out. In a 2-2 game, both teams have 5 hits.
Boy, a lot of room on the right side if Scotty's able to get one on the ground over there.
Off speed, misses in.
Yeah, Renteria shaded way up the middle. He got Lunar, and the only way he's going to be able to make a play is it hits right at him. The whole left side of the diamond wide open on the infield.
Three and 2 the count. Podsednik drives it right field. Couple of outfielders converge. It is So Taguchi making the play, and he moved the runner over to third and Keith Ginter.
Good job by Scotty Podsednik. Able to get him over. Now it's up to the rest of the guys.
By the way, De La Rosa's line, 5 innings, 5 hits, a couple of runs, both earned. 3 walks, 1 strikeout. Much, much better. And he was in dangerous waters out of the gates, and he's got to be proud of himself for working himself through it.
Yeah, first 2 innings were a nightmare for him, but after that, 3, 4, and 5, faced 1 over the minimum. Good work, good recovery.
Breaking ball darts the outside corner. 0-1 the count on Keith Ginter. Or I should say Trent Durrington. Ginter just pinch hit and stands at third. Durrington 0 for 2 tonight. Oh, 2 the count.
And Trent having a tough time picking up that curveball. Of course, everybody is tonight. Has yet to be a base hit on that curveball. I don't think anybody's actually put it in play.
Fastball misses in. Cardinals infield have an interesting approach in the middle. Renteria and Womack, as the pitch is about to come home, they jog into a drawn-in position at the cut of the grass. And Durrington steps out.
Well, disguising the defense, thinking that, if the Brewers, they see the infield back up the middle, they're going to put the contact play on. Thinking that Ginter will take off right away. They charge in real quick in the hopes that, the play stays the same. And a 2-strike squeeze bunt, of all things, results in a strikeout. Ginter's going to have to go back. That's an interesting call. Don't believe I've seen one of those in a while.
A 2-strike suicide squeeze does not work, and Ginter's back to third base.
You talk about being hard up for runs, huh? That pitch about a foot off the plate. fastball. Darrington got a piece of it, but it doesn't count. Wow. That goes down as a strikeout for Matt Moore.
That is 7 of those in 5 innings for the right-hander. You would hate to waste a leadoff double hit by pinch hitter Keith Ginter. But the Brewers in danger of doing just that.
They would have played like that. You would expect that the Brewers are looking to lock out the National League Central. Playing for 1 run.
Two and 1 the count. Three and 1 the count with Jeff Jenkins waiting in the on-deck circle.
Now, if you're Bill Hall, you figure you're going to get a pretty good pitch to hit right here with Jenkins on deck. Jeff's been red hot lately. Look for a fastball that you can handle.
He got a perfect pitcher's pitch on the outside corner. It's 3 and 2.
About that, right on the outside corner.
Good pitch.
I think Dave Duncan put a big smile on his face. He's seen a few of those this season. Look at this, 3 and 1.
High drive left field, but he got under it. And down off the end of the bat. A double by Ginter. Goes by the wayside. 2-strike squeeze included in the mess.
Thank you for bringing me.
You look beautiful.
I've got an eligible beer in the cooler on Hector. Less taste, very unmacho. Replacing with great tasting, less filling Miller Lite. Half the carbs of Bud Light. Wow. We've also got a disproportionately hot girlfriend. I will need further review.
Hi there.
I think I could.
Oh, please. Hey, Tina.
Miller, good call. Tuesday.
What's the matter?
A powerful all-new Nip Tuck.
This isn't what you think. This is just sex.
We know what's been going on between you and Adrian, Ava.
I cheated on you.
You're better than this.
No, sweetheart, you are.
Nip Tuck exposes the ugly truth behind desire.
Mom, can't you see what we've done?
But now all the lies are revealed.
Nip Tuck, all new Tuesday at 10, only on FX.
Fox Movie Channel is the first and only network that brings you your favorite movies, direct from the source, 20th Century Fox.
Showtime.
Our vast library contains some of the greatest films of all time.
No, you raised me.
All uncut and commercial-free.
I'll be back.
As well as today's top stars.
Wait a minute.
Plus, original programming only we can deliver.
You're watching Fox Movie Channel.
It's all here on Fox Movie Channel.
You're watching FSN.
Milwaukee Brewers baseball on FSN North is presented by the Wisconsin Lottery. Odds are you'll like them. And by Cenex, our energy comes through. And we're certainly glad you're with us. Tie ball game, 2 apiece, although the Brewers will tell you that it should be 3-2. Keith Ginter with a leadoff double an inning ago. They could not convert. Ginter hitting for the pitcher, so Matt Wise comes on out of the bullpen, and pretty successful year, just 1 year removed from Tommy John surgery.
And again, he's really done a nice job keeping the ball in the ballpark. He's given up that 1 home run. ERA went up a little bit right after the second half began, but still in all, yeah, as you talked about, a very good season for Matty.
He's got a string of scoreless innings, and that is in 4 appearances now. 9 2/3, Bill, which he has been unscored upon. 1-1 the count on Larry Walker. Changeup fouled back.
Well, when you look at that series against the Houston Astros, the bullpen did a whale of a job when you consider the Astros only scored 7 runs. 4 of those in 1 game. Unfortunately, though, the Brewer offense not able to put any runs on the board. It's a combination of good starting pitching and the bullpen really kicking in. Those guys have been very good this year. They've had their moments where they've struggled, but all in all, the starters, as deep as a lot of them have been able to go into the games this year, have kept that group very strong. The less you have to use them, the better they're going to be throughout the year.
Here comes a 3-2 changeup. And a dandy. Look at Walker. He knew it was coming. Right back to the dugout he went. And that's the A pitch for Wise. Hey, don't forget, join FSN North and Time Warner Cable for a Brewers high-definition viewing party at Club Paragon. That's located on Highway 100 south of Oklahoma. It's next Tuesday, September 28th. It's at 8:30 p.m. Watch the Brewers battle the Fighting Diamondbacks in brilliant high definition. Plus, register for prize giveaways. On the ground, Wise kicks it away. And no play can be made. For an out anyway. Let's go back to the strikeout of Walker and point out again that the #1 pitch for Wise is that changeup.
Well, and again, this is what De La Rosa has to learn. When he gets to a 3-2 count, he's got to be able to throw something out of the fastball. Matt Wise knows it, and he's able to lock out a pretty good hitter. There's a National League batting champion right there, completely fooled on the changeup. Now, De La Rosa will learn it. He'll learn it, or he won't ever be in the big leagues. He won't be there long.
You can see why there's a high side, though, Bill, watching him pitch tonight.
I'm not saying that, you know, there's not a lot to be excited about with De La Rosa. I mean, he's got a good arm. I mean, you just got to learn how to refine it, and that's going to come maybe another year and down in the minor leagues. And the more starts and the more opportunities and appearances he has in the major leagues, the more comfortable he'll become. Case in point, you know, Hendrickson. I mean, Hendrickson has been throwing the baseball much better than once he's been able to get those normal starts, that routine, you know, every 5th day. Ben has pitched much better.
No balls and 1 strike, the count on Mike Matheny. Changeup misses away. 1-1 the count. Wise played his college baseball at Pepperdine and Cal State Fullerton. He's a Southern California native. And he was a guy who last year went onto the field in Anaheim and received his world championship ring with his arm in a sling after it had just been surgically repaired by Tommy John surgery.
That was as big as that Florida Marlins ring. You'd have to put in another sling.
I don't think it's quite as big. That may be the biggest ring I've ever seen in baseball history.
Yeah.
We had a chance when we saw the Florida Marlins. Len Casper and some of the Marlins employees sharing their rings with us. A lot of you remember seeing them on TV.
I think it was heavy. I don't think Lenny can handle that in his hand.
That's a large ring.
I mean, you can't move around too quick with something like that on you.
And speaking of rings and wanting more, look at the resume of Tony La Russa in the postseason. Of course, won World Championship with Oakland in 1989. You see a winning record, winning about 54% of the time. They're looking for another ring, and as Bill said earlier, it's pretty much World Series or bust for the Redbirds.
Yep, 5 games over 500 in postseason play, but very good manager throughout his career. The White Sox, the Oakland A's, and I tell you, there were times when the Oakland A's would just run away with that American League Western Division, and a lot of pressure on them in the playoffs. And not only get to the World Series, but win it, and everybody expecting that they would. I think it's going to be pretty similar of a situation this year with the Cardinals. I don't think anybody expects the Cardinals not to make the World Series.
2-2 the count. 2-2 game. Hit hard on the ground. Let's see if they can get 2. There's 1. There is 2. What a turn by Trent Durrington. He got to take a bite out of the dirt, but as Renteria plowed him over, he held on. This is a whale of a play.
Up a suspended ceiling is a snap with Classic X heavy-duty steel grid from Menards. Put up this 12 by 14-foot ceiling with grid and 2 by 2-foot Alpine panels for less than $150. Save on over 40 different styles of lock sets by Schlage, all on sale. This bright brass Plymouth passage set is just $867. A flare lever style passage set is only $14.97. Open the door to value at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
If a concert hall can be acoustically tuned, if a 60,000-seat stadium can have a retractable roof, if an 80-ton bullet train can glide on air, why not your SUV? At GMC, our engineers don't just ask questions, they have answers. The GMC Envoys. Get $7,500 total cash back on a new 2004 Envoy XUV. See the pros at your select GMC dealers.
Hi, you guys. Wiener World. What's going on? Yeah. Wiener World, how hi? You want to meet Wiener World? No? Hi, guys.
All I can say is that my life is pretty plain. I like watching the puddles gather rain.
Hot dogs love Pepsi. Pepsi loves hot dogs. Pepsi. It's the cola.
Here's another winning experience from the Wisconsin Lottery.
Michael Call of Oshkosh won $45,000 on Badger 5.
Tie ball game 2-all here at Miller Park, bottom of the 6th inning. Well, the Cardinals have already clinched the National League Central, and joining me is the general partner of the St. Louis operation, Bill DeWitt. Bill, kind of an unusual way to win the division before you even take the field. It's all yours.
It is a little unusual. In the past, and we've had some clinches before, we've won the game to clinch, but we'll take it any way we can get it.
You hear baseball people and players alike talk how classy the St. Louis organization always has been. What do you do as an organization to keep those comments flowing in a positive manner?
Well, we're fortunate. We bought the club in '96, and of course it had a great history and tradition. Anheuser-Busch owned the team before us and always did things the right way, and before then the prior owner. So it's just been a great franchise over the years, 100 years, and we've tried to maintain that.
You know, the way that this team has played this year, everyone's going to expect you guys to be in the World Series. Do you feel good going into the postseason?
We do feel good. We've had a few little injuries here of late, so we want everybody on the field, the key players. Scott Rowland's been hurt, and Steve Klein, and so the key for us is to be healthy.
Bill, thanks very much. Congratulations.
Thanks very much.
And by the way, guys, a few Miller products down here amongst these St. Louis brass. They're enjoying.
Ah, I see. Thank you very much for spying, and a very good interview, Bob. Son of former baseball executive and team owner William O. DeWitt and Margaret H. DeWitt. As we look at some of the new players in the ball game, under the watchful eye of Bill DeWitt, Marlon Anderson in right, and the left-hander Flores goes to work. Randy Flores. So the night is done for Morris.
Well, Flores was activated on the 28th of September to take over for Steve Klein, who's on a disabled list. Not much to go on, but he had a very good ERA down in AAA Memphis for the Cardinals minor leagues.
So Morris went 5 innings, allowed 5 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned, 1 walk, and 7 strikeouts.
Nice to see the front office of the Cardinals finally able to enjoy some good beer. Might not want to leave.
The 1-2. Pitch misses away. They're smart people. Mr. DeWitt is a Yale grad and also got his MBA from the Harvard Business School. He's smart enough to know what good beer is. 2-2 the count on Jenkins. Back to the screen it goes.
Of course, you don't have to be too smart. We know what it is.
That's true. Well, you're smart.
I'm no Yale graduate. Tough time spelling Yale.
But you are a Clemson grad. Don't sell Clemson short. We love Clemson in this booth. We love Southern schools, as a matter of fact. I attended one.
Nice weather.
We'll do it again with the 2-2 count. See what else is going on in the baseball world. Minnesota leading the Chicago Sox by a score of 6-0. The White Sox are down. That game is in the bottom of the 5th inning. Twins win, they clinch.
12.5 game lead over the White Sox. How about that? Twins 25 games over 500. How about Santana, that left-hander? Cy Young Award?
I would imagine he's got to win the Cy Young Award right now.
At 19 wins. What has he won? 12 straight?
He's had a fabulous, fabulous year.
We saw 2 starts of Santana's.
Yeah, unfortunately for the Brewers. Can tack one more run, by the way, on that scoreboard for Minnesota. 6-0, they lead it. Toronto leading the Yankees 4-1. That's in the bottom of the 7th inning in New York as Jenkins reaches out. So Taguchi a long run, but he's called off by the left fielder Reggie Sanders. And as the Yankees are winning, or I should say are losing, so are the Red Sox. Baltimore 8, Boston 4. 8-4, Baltimore leading Boston in Boston, top of the 6th inning. Right now, that division separated by 4.5 games with the Yankees on top.
I think the Red Sox have to set their sights on that wild card. They've got a nice, comfortable lead in that wild card over Anaheim. What's it, 4.5 games?
Yes, it's actually 5.5.
5.5. I'll tell you what's interesting as we wind down the last 2 weeks of the season. The Dodgers with a 2.5 game lead over San Francisco. They play over the weekend 3 games. Could be very interesting.
1-1 the count on Russell Branyan. Dodgers and everybody else in the National League not playing tonight outside of the doubleheader that was storm makeup games. Down in Florida, the Cubs and the Marlins split a doubleheader today. Branyan hit it hard, and it's into right field. We talk about topspin on a baseball. Holy smokes. And that's what it had right there. It is unpredictable, and it can never be scripted. It has provided us with some of the greatest moments in sports. On October 5th, Fox Sports begins a month-long journey, starting with the Division Series, then brings you exclusive coverage of the Championship Series, and it culminates with the World Series and the crowning of a champion. The drama begins October 5 right here on Fox.
You have your pick for the World Series? You don't have to give it now, but I think that we should throw it out there before the end of the season.
Magruder gets into that one. Deep to right field. It comes over the wall for a ground rule double. And that is a big-time break for the Cardinals because otherwise Branyan scores.
Magruder's been on all 3 times. First time an error from the second baseman Womack. Then an RBI single, now a double. So Magruder doing a nice job getting an opportunity to get a start tonight, giving Brady Clark the night off. And he's taking it to the right center. That pitch up out over the plate, didn't try and pull it. And you wonder if Jim Edmonds is in the game if that ball's not caught. Not very often the ball stays in the ballpark that guy doesn't catch.
They will intentionally walk Wes Helms. With the left-handed hitting Johnson waiting on deck. There is a righty starting to warm in the bullpen. I would imagine we'll see a pinch hitter for Johnson.
Well, you would think you got Chad Muller and Gary Bennett on the bench. Brady Clark, right-handed batter, is available. I mean, Ned Yost has already proven that he wants to win this game with that 2-strike suicide bunt attempt with Trent Durrington up there. There's Brady. He looks like he's ready. You wonder if he's going to bat now for Johnson over the pitcher's spot.
Johnson heads back toward the dugout. It is Brady Clark. Well, for Brady Clark, it's been a fine second half and a season overall in which he's played a lot more than I think anybody anticipated. But he's made the most of it. He was just 2 for 11 in that Houston series. But since the All-Star break, hitting just a shade under .290 with an on-base percentage built in the second half of right at .400.
Well, and again, you know, he has been a pleasant surprise for Ned Yost and the rest of the Brewers. Brady Clark with 342 at-bats. And as you talked about, that on-base percentage is really the thing that really jumps out at .377. Very patient at the plate.
2-2 the score. It's the bottom of the 6th inning. The Crew has the bases loaded. The young left-hander Flores trying to work through this one. And Al Reyes gets hot in the pen.
Former Brewer. Boy, Al Reyes has bounced around in the major leagues. I think his last was Baltimore, Pittsburgh.
And we will step aside. The call to the bullpen has been made. Reyes comes on. 2-2 game. Glad to have you back. Bottom of the 6th inning. It's a 2-2 tie. We want to remind you that this copyright telecast is presented by authority of the Brewers, and it may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Milwaukee Brewers. Al Reyes comes on out of the bullpen. The 34-year-old, very, very well-traveled right-hander, Bill, who pitched for the Brewers 95, 96, 97, 98, and part of 99.
I'll tell you what, he had some good years with the Brewers. He throws awfully hard, and his problem is been sometimes losing control of the strike zone, but he had a good year down in Memphis. I mean, he led the PCO with 23 saves. Great ERA at 2.95. Hard thrower right here, looking for a strikeout or a double play ball.
Tony La Russa making sure that at least one bottle of Dom Perignon is in his locker after the game as the Cardinals celebrate the Central Division Championship. With the Cubs losing game 2 of that doubleheader to the Marlins 5-2, it was insured. Grady Clark, one career at bat against Al Reyes. He's 1 for 1. Only Counsell, Branyan, and Clark have ever seen Al Reyes in a major league game. You think the chances are that Matt Wise will hit if, in fact, Grady Clark makes it out here?
Pretty slim.
As he stands in the on-deck circle, and he is pretty slim with that bat. 2-2 game, bases loaded. Put your rally caps on at home right now. Brewers need some help lately.
Think about Al Reyes, he'll come from a lot of different arm angles and give you pretty good stuff no matter where it's coming from.
So you saw some of that arm angle when he pitched for the Brewers?
Yeah, I mean, Al Reyes put in some pretty good years with the Brewers out of the bullpen, no doubt.
Breaking ball, did he go? They appeal, he did not, says Rick Reed, first base umpire. Reyes in 1998 made 50 appearances out of the Milwaukee bullpen. Had an ERA of 3.95. Moved on to Baltimore, Los Angeles, Pittsburgh, the Yanks for a couple of games last year. And now here in St. Louis.
Pretty good career stats right there. Winning record.
Hitters count of 2-0. A changeup, and it's 2-1. Boy, that was nasty.
Took a little bit off. Al Reyes gave him the old cambio. Another pitch that he used very effectively with the Brewers. And in his times in Milwaukee, had always had that very good, well-mannered, manicured facial hair. One of the first in the big leagues to do it.
It up to the right side. You ever get a chance to see him, work on that, trim it up?
No, not really.
Could you maybe ask him to watch tomorrow?
I'm sure he does it in his hotel, and I just soon not go over there. See, now that's the way it should be.
That's
right
more
there,
my type of look right there.
I mean, the rough-looking guy. One of those. I don't think Gary Bennett owns one of those personal grooming tools. Do you?
No. Oh, absolutely not.
Or Jeff. He does.
2-2 the count in a 2-2 game. Clark hitting for the catcher, Mark Johnson. Bases loaded. slider misses outside. It's 3-2.
Walk's as good as a hit, right?
Oh, you bet. When hits have been hard to come by in the second half, and especially over the last 6 games, it's equally as good of a hit as a hit.
Now, this is the guy you want up in these situations. The guy's going to make contact and is willing to take a walk.
Hit hard. Pujols bobbles. Fields and fires. Got him at first, but a run scores.
They had a play at the plate.
You bet they did.
Albert Pujols dropped it. He dropped the foul pop in the first inning, and they didn't give him an error. He dropped that one, and they got Brady Clark, but Brady got the job done and drove in the run. Just trying to make contact, not trying to hit it too hard, but Albert Pujols, presence of mind, and Al Reyes able to get over there like a first baseman and get the out. Yeah, Albert Pujols wanted to play at the plate, and a good job by Reyes to get over there.
I will say this, Bill, in defense of Albert Pujols. He did drop the baseball. It was in his glove, but it took a bad hop that he had to go up and get up in front of his face.
Good reflexes just to keep it in front of him.
Lyle Overbay will pinch hit. We mentioned Ned Yost trying to give him a breather. They only play a game or 2 in this series. His next double will tie the club record set by Robin Yount. He's got 48 this year. Change up on the inside corner for a strike.
Can't think of a better time for that double than now. A couple of men on.
And that's a long-standing record. Cirillo couldn't get there. A couple of years after, Yount nearly bettered his mark. Record that stood for 24 years. And it'll continue to stand for at least a few more days. Play is made by Reggie Sanders, but the Brewers grab the lead 3-2.
Love this spot. Pop? Yeah, son? There's something I gotta tell you.
I've got unbeerman-like conduct on Timmy. Giving Dad a beer with less taste, that's a loss of respect. Inheritance, decline. Replacing with great-tasting, less-filling Miller Lite. Half the carbs is Bud Light. We've also got unoriginal tattoo on Timmy, tribal armband design, attempting to fit in. Play beer.
Miller. Good call.
Hi, I'm James Brown. Did you know that diabetes claims more lives each year than either AIDS or breast cancer? And diabetes affects entire families. My mom is one of the estimated 17 million Americans who suffers from the disease. What many people don't know is diabetes is responsible for tens of thousands of lower limb amputations each year. If you or someone in your family has been diagnosed with diabetes, take foot care seriously and see a podiatrist, because the key to preventing problems is early detection and regular foot screenings. Be sure to check your feet for changes in skin color, slow healing cuts and sores, swelling or redness. And if you notice any symptoms, contact a podiatrist right away. And be sure to help older family members who may not be able to check their own feet. For more information, call 1-800-FOOT-CARE or visit apma.org. When it comes to diabetes, you may be at risk, so don't play games with your health.
You're watching FSN.
Milwaukee leads it by a score of 3-2. You see our Toyota game summary. Morris and De La Rosa both had shortened outings. And you can see the Brewers grab a 3-2 lead and do so in the bottom half of inning number 6 on a Brady Clark fielder's choice ground out. And Milwaukee leads it by a score of 3-2. We're glad you're with us tonight. As right-hander Mike Adams goes to work out of the bullpen, Lyle Overbay stays on to play first base. Chad Moeller is behind the plate, and Mike Adams on the mound for the Brewers.
Like a spring training game, partner.
Yes, it is.
Mike Adams appearing in his 43rd game here tonight. Talk about another guy that's had a fairly good season. A lot of surprises out of Mike Adams this year, as well as Matt Wise. Two guys that I would think would be front runners for that bullpen for next year.
Well, what a bounce back, too, for Adams. I mean, he is a rookie, and a rookie who in the month of August really had some troubles. In 10 innings of work, he allowed 12 runs, and that'd be a great time for a young pitcher to lose confidence, bury his head in the sand, and, you know, sometimes just lose all belief in himself. But here's what he's done in the month of September. He's worked 7 innings. He has made 6 appearances. He has not allowed a run. And he paints the outside corner, and you know what? There's something to that.
Yep.
Worked a scoreless inning last night with a couple of strikeouts in that 1-0 loss to the Astros and Roger Clemens. Toward right field, Magruder scoots over there into the corner. As he slides, it hits off the wall. Don't sweat it there, Chris. You went as far as you could. I think it surprised him that it hit the wall.
Hit the wall and almost hit him in the head. There it goes, hits the wall and ricochets right back. Look like it hit the railing, or did it hit the wall? One of the two, whatever. Had to tie his shoe.
So the count is 2-2 on Luna. Now we'll get a new baseball. Joe West is out and has a few words for Mike Adams, along with Chad Moeller. Not quite sure what that's about. I mean, he's never met him. He just wanted to go meet him. You worked with the Cowboy, haven't you? Cowboy Joe?
Yes, sir. In spring training. I mean, I was an American League guy.
That's right. That's right.
Was a National League umpire.
Oh, what a nasty slider that is. Somebody make a play out there. How about the second baseman, Trent Durrington?
I tell you what, you know, you get guys like Joe West, you get Bruce Fleming, those kind of guys. They are in complete control of the ball game. There's that slider that you're talking about going down and away, and just a defensive swing by Lunar. An easy out at second base. So you remember that game in Los Angeles when Milton Bradley kind of lost his head
for
a while throwing balls? It was Joe West that pretty much stole the show in that. Collected the bat and the gloves and gave it to a security guy. I'm not sure what that was all about, but Joe's not a kind of a guy that's going to take a whole lot.
Chad Moeller's making him laugh with whatever Chad is saying. He had a little giggle there a moment ago. It's always good if you can put a smile on the man in blue's face, correct?
You know what he's probably saying is, he remember that game in Los Angeles when Milton Bradley lost his mind?
How could any of us forget that one?
Joe West probably said, yeah, I still haven't heard the end of that one. They're still calling me at the baseball office about that.
Well, he took that equipment, Bill, and if you remember initially, I thought, I mean, Bradley took off his batting gloves and his helmet and his bat and laid it all at his feet in a sign of protest. And Joe took that equipment, and I thought that he was actually taking it. And West wasn't even the home plate umpire. West came out as the crew chief from second base. I thought he was giving that equipment to some fans in the stands initially. Broke his bat. That's a base hit into right field for Marlon Anderson. What he was doing was having that equipment taken as quote-unquote evidence to the umpire's room. Basically saying, that's my equipment now. You're going to lay it at my feet. You don't get it back. And that incensed Jim Tracy, the manager of the Dodgers, and bottles and cans were thrown onto the field.
Balls.
Not your, yeah, that's right. Well, they were thrown by the actual player, Milton Bradley. That's one of the highlights of the year for me.
That was good. That was what, a 5-game suspension? We had a discussion about that.
We had a healthy debate, you and I.
Me and my, I guess, ignorance said it shouldn't result in any fine. I was feeling charitable that day.
Nothing wrong with that. 1-0 the count on Tony Womack. I've read articles since in the Los Angeles Times about Milton Bradley. And Bradley has admitted on several occasions to reporters, radio, TV cameras, that he's acted at times like a spoiled baby and has to stop. And there have been several occasions since he has gone public criticizing himself where he has shown and taken the high road.
And that's good. I mean, that's what a lot of teams in baseball have been waiting for from Milton Bradley. He's got a lot of ability, but he's his own worst enemy.
Oh, how about that moment right there? Milton Bradley on that day at Dodger Stadium acted about 2 years younger than that young man we just saw. I love that. And I love when the dad says, you know, this is a very special thing you have here. And he spikes it off the asphalt out front of his house. 2-1 to count, make it 1-2 to count on Womack. But that's what baseballs are for. They're for playing with.
Yeah, I told you the story about my Casey Stengel signed autograph.
No.
Grandfather went down to spring training every year down to Florida. Brought me home a Casey Stengel signed baseball. I played with it that day, lost it. Needless to say, my father's never forgiven me.
Here's the thing, parents out there. If you don't want your kids like a young Billy Schroeder or that young man to play with the ball, when you present them with that ball, you had better have it in a case already.
Yeah, and put it on a very high shelf. I was about 7. I didn't know any better. It was Casey Stengel to me.
You cannot hand a youngster a baseball and tell him not to play with it.
7 years old, I'm going to know who Casey Stengel is. I mean, if it's not Mickey Mantle or somebody, I'm playing with it, pal.
I got to have to talk with your dad. He's got to let it go.
He thought that ball was going to put me through college.
Here's So Taguchi. You put yourself through college.
Put myself through, yeah.
Showed him, didn't you?
So forget about it, Pop. Be nice to have, though.
Here's So with the runner at first. And Adams firing it inside.
My grandfather never did find out that I lost the ball.
Oh, really?
I mean, I didn't have it for 4 hours. Gone.
See, I think that's a fine story.
And that's a true story, too.
Joe West doing a little bit of housekeeping. I have a story for you. See what happens here with 2 outs first. So my father was playing with the Dodgers, and it was probably in the 70s, and I was about that 7 years old, maybe 6, maybe a little bit younger that you're talking about, and I was down on the field running around in San Diego at Jack Murphy Stadium, as it was then called, and a fan yelled down, "Hey, hey, young man." As the runner is on the move, the throw is not in time. Stolen base for Anderson. So the fan said, you know, could you, then he was very kind and sweet, little Sutton, whatever he called me. Hey, could you hand me that catcher's mitt down there? I'd love to see it. And I promptly gave away Joe Ferguson's catcher's mitt to a fan in the stands in San Diego.
And ran off with it.
He was gone.
See, I'd rather have my father mad at me than Joe Ferguson. Joe Ferguson.
Gave it away.
Yeah, that's good. Were you allowed on the field the next day?
No.
That's the kind of look you got from Dad, isn't it?
It was similar. I'm trying to remember if I could sit down later that night.
Didn't blink?
I don't think I was able to sit down, if I remember properly. You know how lessons are learned real quickly. Not so much these days. We have timeouts now. Timeout.
You can't be doing that anymore.
Rock timeout.
Might hurt somebody's feelings.
Just stick with us, folks. You never know what subjects are going to come up, and this is what separates us from other telecasts. We don't know if it's good or bad. That's belting. Deep in the left field. Jenkins on the run. He can't get there. A lot of Cardinals fans here cheer that one on. We have a tie ball game. So Taguchi with a big hit there.
Yeah, Adams left the pitch up in the zone, and So Taguchi is a deadly pull hitter. He's pulled everything tonight. Base hit the left in the second inning, a lined out to left, and now a double down the line in left. Fastball right down the middle, exactly where Taguchi likes it. He likes it middle in. He gave it to him, and an RBI double with 2 outs.
They will walk Pujols. Mitchell Page, the hitting coach for the Cardinals, Bill, made some changes with So Taguchi this year. What you see a lot in Japan are very active front legs. You know, the hitters with the high leg kicks and very busy front legs. He asked Taguchi to spread his stance out a little bit and quiet down that front leg, and it was an uncomfortable move for him, but it's really reaping results.
Yes, it is. Well, you don't see Ichiro do that a whole lot, or do you? I mean, we saw him in a series here in Milwaukee. He really doesn't lift the leg up,
no.
But he does have an active lower body.
He's busy in the box, you're right.
His legs are moving around, but they're not lifting up real high.
So with 1 run in, Ned Yost is going to make a move. He's going to bring in Vizcaíno, the right-hander. Adams gives up his first run of the month. After 6 consecutive scoreless outings, it's a 3-3 game. We will step aside.
Your ticket to the black and blue division is FSN North.
And he's got a touchdown!
The Black and Blue Preview. Every week, join host Trevor Thompson and former Lions and Bears quarterback Eric Kramer as they hit the practice fields, talk to players and coaches.
I expect to play well every week.
And go inside the huddle to prepare you for kickoff in the NFC North. The Black and Blue Preview, Friday at 5 on FSN North.
Thursday on FSN. Undefeated Rydell Booker meets James Lights Out Tony on a special live presentation of the best damn sports show period with ringside commentary from Max Kellerman. It's the IBA World Heavyweight Championship. It's live and it's only on FSN. Thursday, live.
College Football Saturday on FSN. Vince Young leads national powerhouse Texas in a showdown with in-state rival Rice. Then, Kansas looks to remain undefeated in a Big 12 slugfest with Texas Tech. College Football Saturday, presented by Kia Serra on FSN.
You know, it's one thing to talk Dad into taking you to the game, which obviously that young lady succeeded in doing. The next step for her is to talk Dad into letting her sleep in the morning instead of having to slide off to school. We're glad all you youngsters are with us tonight, and all you moms and dad as well, as Luis Vizcaíno, he of the 4.13 earned run average, comes on for the 68th time this year.
And again, Ned Yost does want this game, and this is ordinarily a spot that you may not see Vizcaíno in his 7th inning, coming in the middle of an inning in a tie game. But Vizcaíno has gotten an awful lot of work, not so much lately. I mean, he was on pace for well over 80 appearances this year, and the pace has slackened just a little bit for him.
He's on to face Reggie Sanders. Runners on first and second. Tying run in this inning already. It's a 3-3 game. Goes after him with a good fastball at 94 miles an hour. And maybe, just maybe, Bill, the lightening of the workload for Vizcaíno, I think, maybe adding a bit to his velocity.
No doubt.
Getting a chance to catch his breath a little bit.
Well, particularly in August and September. I mean, that's when those inning totals really mount up on a guy. Give him some time off, maybe 3-day stretch where he doesn't have to work. It really will jolt a lot of life back into that arm sometime.
.93 as it misses high and inside. 1-1 the count. 3 runs, 8 hits, and an error for the Cardinals. 3 runs, 7 hits, and no errors for the Brewers. Aaron Sutton, Bill Schroeder, Craig Kashawn, Bob Brainerd with you from Miller Park. We're glad you're with us tonight. Fastballs as he comes out of the bullpen. That's 3 in a row.
Yeah, you got to be careful. Reggie Sanders hanging a slider. I mean, that's the one thing you don't want to do to him. He likes the ball in. He likes the fastball up in the strike zone and a slider that doesn't do much. Another guy that likes to pull the ball.
Split-fingered fastball resulted in a very awkward swing and a very awkward sounded contact as well.
Right off the end of the bat. I think that hit the that cup on the end of that bat. Probably a big smile on that ball. Cut it.
And unfortunately for pitchers, umpires will want that ball right out of the game, which is a real shame.
See where it gets it, right off the end. Sanders way out in front, and it did get right off the end of the bat.
Fastball again, and it misses high. Hey, come on, Bill. They should just let him use that ball if it's got a big cut in it.
Yeah, that ball won't move too much, will it?
That's a good thing.
Might slow it down a little bit, though.
Jimmy Edmonds has a bat. He's in the on-deck circle. Not that I'd know. Let's just get that clear.
You wouldn't know about doctoring the baseball?
No. Let's move along as the runners take off, and it's a strikeout. He didn't need it, Doctor. He stayed with the heat. One breaking ball in that entire at bat. They knew what they wanted to do, and Sanders goes down on strikes. Nice job by Biz Cayeno.
With MVP candidates, the Cardinals bring the league's best record to the ballpark. But can they stop baseball's #1 thief when Scotty Poe goes on the prowl in Milwaukee? Cardinals, Brewers, tomorrow and Wednesday on FSN North.
Patio Daddy-O in Clement's Great Grill Challenge.
Who's that cool cooking man? King of the grill, who's your patio daddy-o?
What's cooking, Daddy-O? Clement's always lean and juicy, or the other guys with more fat, more flare-ups, and shrinking taste. Choose Clement's Big Brat taste. Avoid unnecessary flare-ups. Never substitute fat for flavor. This episode of Patio Daddy-O was brought to you by Clement's.
He only cooks Who's your patio daddy-o?
What a change!
Oh my goodness.
So happy for her.
Look at this.
What you get.
Introducing the redesigned 2005 Nissan Altima. You might call it an extreme makeover. We call it the 05 Altima. Now with 1,000 cash back or 2% financing, Altima's never been more attractive.
Beautiful.
1,000 cash or 2% at your Nissan dealer now.
Everything's so fresh.
I wonder who her caterer is.
It's me. I'm the caterer.
Please.
Come on, Patricia, who is it?
I got everything at Jewel. What, you think I have a fancy chef back there with a tall white hat and a funny accent?
Can I have his number?
Jewel, helping make your life easier.
Glad to have you with us. Someone's going to blink at some point. It's a 3-3 game as we move into the bottom of the 7th inning. Isn't that a welcome sight? Tonight's Tavern of the Game winner is Bumps in Clintonville. If the Tavern contact calls the Brewers by midnight at 414-902-4572, Bumps will receive 40 tickets to a Friday night game in the Miller Lite Beer Pen early next season in 05, courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite. Reyes back out to work, and he fires a fastball on the outside part of the plate to Scott Besednik. You ever been to Bumps in Clintonville?
I have not, but I've been through Clintonville on my way up the Eagle River.
Down off the end of the bat, Scott gives it a run, though. To the gap it goes, and it bounds over the wall. A ground rule leadoff double for Pasednik. I must admit, I didn't think it would go that far. He got into it.
Well, Scotty gave Evan a pretty good ride. Hit the ball hard a couple of times. The last couple of times he elevated the baseball. This time for a double. Another leadoff double for the Brewers. Their third tonight. That looked like a bit of a changeup that Scott was able to wait back on very nicely and drive out of the park on one hop.
Yeah, I think you're right. You know, Bill, that's a little bit of strength there to take a changeup away, down off the end of the bat and hit it that far.
Yeah. We'll just ask Brad Ausmus how strong Scott Pasednik is.
I think you have a little bit more respect for Scott, that he would play that hard in a game that for the Brewers means nothing.
Right. And again, you know, we mentioned this in the pregame show. I think a lot of what the Brewer, baseball folks are looking at, Ned Yost, the coaching staff, Doug Melvin, the heart of everybody on that ball club to see how hard do you want to play in the last 2 weeks of the season. And with Scott Pasednik trying to score a run, and literally one of the nastiest collisions at home plate we've seen in a while, and we've seen a few. Really have seen a few. Remember Adam Dunn running into Mark Johnson in Cincinnati. I mean, Mark Johnson, or that might have been here, I'm not sure. But again, it showed a lot of heart for Scott Pasednik to go into Ausmus like that. Knocked his helmet off. He tried to score a run. He didn't. But again, showed a lot of heart. And that's what I think the Brewers are looking for right now. Who are the guys that are going to cash it in and go home, or who are the guys that are going to play it out and play hard?
2-0 the count on Durrington. Albert Pujols, he's about 55 feet away as the pitch is delivered on the first base side. Luna trying to stay back at the bag to make a play on Pasednik. They're not careful. Scott will just swipe third base. They're working him behind the bag is Renteria. On the inside corner, Durrington didn't think so.
I think Trent thought that ball was down in the strike zone. Looked like it might have been off the inside corner. I think Joe can understand him.
That's not a strike. Come on now. That's exactly what he said. I think he can.
Oh, yeah.
Gets that one down. That's what you want. The third baseman had to leave his post and field that ball. That wasn't an easy pitch to bunt either, by the way.
No, it wasn't. And it doesn't even have to be anywhere close to being perfect in that situation. You know, Scotty's going to get a good jump off of second base. And with Lunar playing so far in, almost like a bit of a punch over there toward third base. He wasn't about to make a mistake with it. I would imagine it's going to go down as a sacrifice. He actually took a little poke at that ball, which wouldn't have been a bad move. Hit that ball hard and get right by the third baseman. And he got first and third and maybe a run in.
So a double and a sacrifice. Infield in for the Cardinals. 3-3 game. Here's Bill Hall. Change up for a strike. Billy tonight doubled and scored back in the fourth inning when Chris Magruder singled him home. He's also grounded out and popped up. One hit in his last 8 at bats. Boy, doesn't that fastball look harder after a changeup?
89 miles an hour. Looks more like, 99 when you're throwing changeups and sliders all the time.
The Dominican native ready to go against Hall. Squeeze is on. He drops it down toward the plate. Safe. Hall safe at first. And the Brewers lead it by a score of 4-3.
I'll tell you what, how bad does Ned Yost want this one tonight?
Second squeeze attempt for Ned Yost in the last 3 innings.
I'll tell you what, he's managing tonight. There it is, perfectly timed. Scott Podsednik taking off at a perfect time. Don't want to leave too early, and all Bill Hall has to do is put it on the ground, and he did. That'll be a sacrifice, an RBI, no at bat, and a fielder's choice.
So an RBI for Hall, number 53. I'll tell you what, I mean, you don't want to give up the run, but you got to wonder what Reyes was thinking there. He had no play at the plate.
No, he didn't.
Give the run up, take the out, and at least start with a clean slate and the base is empty.
And again, the pitcher's trying to do whatever he can to try and keep that run from scoring.
So Podsednik's double is cashed in. As if Ned Yost was saying, you know what, guys, I'm sorry. I like you, you're my players, but you aren't driving anybody in right now. I'm going to bunt him twice from second base.
Yep. Ned Yost, before the ball game, really did have for the first time a real sense of frustration in his voice. Really not sure what to do, not sure, you know, how to get some runs on the board. So I guess he's acting out as best he can, you know, and taking the bat out of some of these guys' hands and making them put it on the ground. Sacrifice, the squeeze, you know, good fundamental, you know, ABC baseball. That's a perfect example of it right there. The leadoff double, get him over, get him in with a bunt. So the leadoff double, and then 2 bunts later, the Brewers have the lead. That's one way to score.
2 quotes from Ned today in the meeting with the media. Number 1, we have to find ways to get more offense. Number 2, I'm out of ideas. I think he sold himself short. He had a couple of good ideas right there.
Absolutely, he hadn't out of ideas. I think it'd be real nice. You know, I know that the Cardinals already have clinched their division. I mean, with the Cubs lost today. It'd be nice for him to have kind of a bittersweet, you know, celebration in that clubhouse by winning this game. I know he'd love it.
They're going to celebrate on their property. Let them do it behind closed doors, in other words. Don't allow them to do it in front of your fans on your field. I see that clearly. That makes a lot of sense.
Well, not as if he doesn't want to win every game, but I think that those sacrifice, those squeeze bunts, I think that there was a lot to that. That was a big message sent. We're winning this game, boys.
Oh boy, a double play. Strike him out, throw him out. There was that changeup to set down Jenkins, and Matheny, who was thrown out about 30% this year, fires out Bill Hall. But some little ball puts the Brewers on top.
Prague. Prague.
To Barcelona, Barcelona. Yeah, for Barcelona, Barcelona.
Barcelona.
To Barcelona.
Toyota offers 5 different SUVs.
Choice is good.
And all 5 were named an excellent value.
Nice.
4Runner has an available 235 horsepower V8, and Highlander seats up to 7.
I like that.
And the cool RAV4 gets 30 miles per gallon.
The road to happiness.
Yeah, baby.
Get 0% financing for 36 months on RAV4, 4Runner, or Highlander, or take $750 cash on Highlander. See your Toyota dealer.
I want to take a little break in the action and tell you about my friends at the Good Feet store. Ever since I was a player, I've had constant pain in the balls of my feet, my arches, my heels, even my neck. From waking up in the morning, hobbling out of bed, to broadcasting games at night, I was in constant pain. I thought it was just something I was going to have to live with. And then I went to the Good Feet store. Thanks to them, my feet and legs are feeling great. Even my neck pain is gone. Do what I did. Stop in at your local Good Feet store and feel good again.
Milwaukee Brewers baseball on FSN North is presented by Pepsi. It's the Cola. And by Miller. Vote Miller for President of Beers. Glad to have you back inside of the well-lit Miller Park. After the 4-0 loss to the San Francisco Giants, Dave Nelson, the first base coach for the Brewers, was quoted as saying, "Our hitters can take a vacation like no team I've ever seen." And it was with that in mind and the recent struggles of the Brewers that continued in Houston that Ned Yost really wanted to manufacture a run, and he did so that last half inning.
Yeah, I tell you what, the second half struggles of the team offensively is something, you know, and I haven't been around as long as a lot of guys in baseball, but I've never really seen this type of thing last this long for the club. There have been times when, you know, every team has a tough time scoring runs, but the Brewers have had this problem since the beginning of July.
One and one the count on the pinch hitter Roger Cedeno. And Ned Yost knows it. He was talking about it again before the game. 1-2. He appears to be overmatched right now.
Contact has always been an issue for Roger Cedeno. I mean, this guy can run. Very good defensively in the outfield. He's got good power. Just doesn't make enough contact.
2 balls and 2 strikes the count. See if he'll throw him one of those splitters or just stay with the heat. Almost seems to be believing in the heat right now. Let's see. Yep, threw him a fastball. Couldn't do anything with it. Jenkins is there to make the play for the out. We want to see you when it gets cool around the Wisconsin, or better yet, bitter cold. We want to see you play some baseball. And you know you can do it at Brewers 2005 Fantasy Camp at the Maryvale Sports Complex in Phoenix, Arizona. You see the dates. Call 679-3612-262 area code. All your coaches, your instructors, your beverage consuming buddies after the games are over will be members of the 1982 World Series reunion team.
Did I tell you I locked down Gorman Thomas today?
He's in. He's committed.
Jim Gantner, your dad's going to be coming down, and a lot of other guys from that 82 World Series team will be down there.
Pretty formidable group.
You know, we are at 62 campers right now.
Oh boy.
So if anybody out there has any idea going to fantasy camp, I would suggest you get your registration form in now.
Check it out online if you're interested. The Milwaukee Brewers website, MilwaukeeBrewers.com. Go into the fan forum section and click on Fantasy Camp. There's some of the names from that team in 1982.
Yeah, Robin Yount, I believe he's going to be coming down for Saturday. I cannot confirm that. Been a busy year for Paulie.
I recently just saw him on my trip to Seattle.
Did you mention fantasy camp?
I didn't. I apologize.
Yeah, I'm always thinking of yourself.
Yeah, you're right, actually.
There they are. World Series T-shirts.
Oh boy, how about those shirts? One of those in my closet somewhere. T-shirts.
Shirt, you mean?
Slider, and he laid off.
And everybody that goes to the fantasy camp this year will receive a 1982 Brewer uniform along with a hat. Hot ticket item these days.
I'm getting a little bit concerned about, you know, the amount of campers. This means that there will be, you know, a larger talent pool to pull from.
No, you'd be surprised.
Slider, and it's fouled off. You know, and really, once I get to fantasy camp, it's about me.
You against the world,
yeah,
right?
It's you know.
You don't have to tell me. I've seen it.
It's the angry released minor leaguer who had a 10 ERA in A-ball that, you know, is coming back for some vengeance. And let's be honest. 3-2 the count.
Yeah, we're going to do something to put an end to that.
You tried last year. lined into left field. Boy, that's a big hit because that's the tying run. Renteria all the way into second base.
Well, the 9th hit for the Cardinals here tonight. Cardinals have only been retired in order in 1 inning, and that's the 3rd. Getting a fastball in on him and ripping it right down the line, just out of the reach of Branyan and into the corner for a 1-out double.
One more hit.
Here's Mike Matheny, tying run at second base. I mean, last year I started 7 for my first 7, and you instructed the campers to throw at me and hit me on purpose.
No, I didn't. You know better than that.
Where's that booth camera? I got a picture to show the guys.
Wouldn't do it.
0-1 the count. 4-3 the score. As that one misses high. That's what happens, folks, when you go 7 for your first 7.
I got a better one for you.
Right there. You got another one?
How about this one?
That's always appealing.
Do it! Do it!
Look at that.
You got the product right there. You're all set.
1-2 the count.
That's what fantasy camp's all about. Ice and MGD. You betcha.
Aye, aye, aye.
And now this year you get Gorman. Gorman calls me 6 a.m. today. Does he know I work nights?
Well, he must have thought you were with the team in China.
Hey, Gorman, you know what time it is? Yeah, it's 6:03. I said, do you know we got a game tonight? I was going to leave you a message. Don't you think the phone's going to wake everybody up?
What a selfish, selfish man. 1-2 the count. Just missed with a fastball.
Hey, Vizcaíno feeling pretty good about that fastball tonight, and why not? 94 miles per hour. Just don't want to make a mistake with something off speed in Matheny. Something over the plate, off speed, middle speed in particular.
In and out of the catcher's mitt of Chad Moeller. No, Bill didn't instruct anyone to hit me on purpose. I don't want to scare anyone away. Milwaukee clinging to a 4-3 lead. Slide of the play, almost made. Let's see if they can win in the rundown. Got to get it out here, and they get it.
All right, well done by Russell Branyan.
Vizcaíno nearly threw that ball away.
Russell Branyan, as I talked about, is a good play because not only did he execute the rundown perfectly, only one throw, but he did save an error for Vizcaíno, who spiked it down around his feet. Well done. Good play by Russell Branyan. Good pitch, first of all. You see Renteria taking off, that throw down around the ankles. And Russell Branyan runs him right back, gets his momentum going, and finally gets rid of it. And it's a good thing Bill Hall got out of the way because you can see Renteria pointing at him. If Renteria ran into Hall, he would have been awarded third base. But you can't throw your arm out, which is what Edgar Renteria tried to do.
So Ray Langford takes over. His wheels will be needed as Jim Edmonds will pinch hit. Edmonds 315, 42 home runs, 110 RBIs. What a season he has had. When he signed with the Cardinals and made the move, or I should say was traded by the Angels and made the move back in 2000, he hit 42 home runs as well. That's his single season high. He's matched it. Split-fingered fastball and a dandy. Strike one.
Yeah, be surprised if he gets a fastball for a strike. Might try and get him to chase up in the strike zone. First pitch fastball, nothing doing. The splitter. And Edmonds waves at it.
Which one is it, Jimmy? Which one?
There's another. It's 0-2. He can pull it with a beautiful uppercut, but when he's really on his game, his power is to left center field, and he has no doubt power to left center field.
Outfield extremely deep right now, thinking they don't want anything hit over their heads, because that's the only way a run will score.
Here comes another split-fingered fastball, 0-2. And it's outside. Edmonds this year working with an on-base percentage of .429. And recently hit his 300th career home run. Another splitter, and it's fouled off. Reading an article recently, and Tony La Russa about these Cardinals was quoted as saying, "I've had good players before, but when your best players play the game the right way, that's when everybody is influenced. Not by me, but by them."
No doubt about it. You know what? That makes the manager's job of disciplining his team very easy. You don't have to do anything. Said that for many years. A good example of that is with Bagwell and Biggio over there. When those guys play hard and bust their rear ends every day, it makes the young players fall right in the line.
Went with a fastball, and he fouled it off. The article was talking about what an influence Scott Rowland, even though he's one of the younger superstars, although Pujols, the baby of the group, has Scott Rowland, since he has come over from Philadelphia, has influenced the club with the basic put your head down when you hit it out approach, if you know what I mean. Play the game right.
Yeah, act like you did it before.
And that transcends to every way they play the game. That one kicks away from Mulder, and Langford will move up 90 feet. And it was interesting, Bill. It wasn't totally out of humility that Rowland said he doesn't. He said, I don't want to let on to an opponent if I feel like I'm in a groove or if I was lucky to hit a ball. And he said it's the same when I strike out. If I strike out, my head's down, or if I fire my helmet, I let them know where I stand mentally. Yeah. I don't want to let them know.
Never let them see you sweat.
Basically what he said in the article.
Yeah.
And he'll be back soon, battling a calf injury, Scott. That one kicks away, and another 90 feet.
Well, one more, and there's a run. Oh, boy. Very unlike Chad Muller, normally very sure-handed behind the plate, able to block those pitches in the dirt. And I tell you, Chad, those appear to be relatively routine for him ordinarily, but again, consecutive split-fingered fastballs down in the dirt get by him. Now an infield hit scores a run.
Let's see what they throw here. 3-2. After a couple of splitters have bounced into the dirt. Runner on third. Another splitter, and he had to block it up, and Edmonds draws a walk. If you're Ned Yost, do you go for a 1+ inning save for Danny Kolb? Do you bring him in here in the 8th inning? There you go. I think he's going to.
No, he went back.
He changed his mind?
Well, no, I don't know, but Chad Muller's walking out there. Maybe he's giving Dan Kolb a couple of extra pitches, but Ned was certainly out on that warning track and then turned around.
Danny's ready.
What's Kolb in?
You heard what the single fan wants.
Dan Kolb. Dan Kolb.
On a couple of occasions, Ned Yost has gone to Dan Kolb for more than one inning, and he struggled.
Let's get the batter, Jose.
Fair to say?
Yeah.
You know that's going to be playing in his mind.
Well, there aren't too many closers that do very well in more than a one inning situation.
And off the catcher's mitt it goes. We are tied.
Wow.
What a nightmare.
Boy, oh boy, you got to wonder what happened there. Did he get crossed up? It looked like a fastball went right off his glove. And without the benefit of the hit, 2 wild pitches, and I would imagine a pass ball. And a run crosses home plate. Boy, that hurts. That hurts. And now you got Edmonds at second base, and a base hit. Cardinals have the lead. Tell you what, the team just finds different ways every night.
Rolled back to the mound. The out is made, but way too late. 4-4 game.
Yo, Monica.
Thank you.
It's your move.
This is so fun. I've never really played this game.
Okay, I've got Roughing the Palate on Keith, giving his date of beer with less flavor. Not cool. Replacing with genuine flavored, cold filtered, smooth Miller Genuine Draft. Oh boy. We've also got a noticeable unibrow on Keith. That's a no second date penalty. Still single. Leave here.
What? Miller. Good call.
The IBA World Heavyweight Championship. Rydell Booker meets James Toney on a special live presentation of the Best Damn Sports Show, period. Thursday.
She's something.
September is looking foxy. On Fox Movie Channel.
Operation Powder Room in operation. Yes, sir.
With a month of movies full of 20th Century Fox's foxiest females.
Isn't it delicious?
Delicious. Fall in love nightly.
Do you believe in love at first sight?
As the women of Fox strut their stuff. Then fall head over heels with an all-day Fox's Foxiest Marathon.
I show you more fun than you ever had.
I'm in. At Fox Movie Channel, we know how to treat a lady.
I'd be delighted to offer my services.
September 19th through the 25th, double features at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. September 26th, all-day marathon, only on Fox Movie Channel.
You're watching FSN.
A tough goal for Chad Moeller, and this game is tied 4-4. Walk us through these, Bill.
Well, it looked like the Brewers are out of the woods after a nice rundown by Russell Brandy, and a wild pitch gets him Langford to second base. A wild pitch gets Langford to third base, and then a pass ball, all with 2 outs. Ray Langford scores a tying run. Boy, what a disaster for Milwaukee. Normally sure-handed Chad Moeller. Not able to keep the ball in front of him in that inning.
Cedeno is now in right field. John Mabry is now at third base. Yadier Molina is now behind the plate. What else? Keep them coming. Carmen Cali is on out of the bullpen. It is spring training.
Yes, it is. 40-man roster. Everybody, the rosters expand from 25 to 40. A lot of different pitchers out in that bullpen. You got a lot of players on the bench, utility players, and particularly, advantageous for a guy like Tony La Russa, who after tonight, I would imagine is going to be playing a lot of his bench players tomorrow. Give some guys a day off. Gear them up, maybe the last 3-4 days of the regular season, get them out there, get them into some continuity again, and you don't want to get them completely cold going into the playoffs.
Five times Tony La Russa has won a Manager of the Year award. Chicago, Oakland, St. Louis. With 3 different teams, he's done it. He's got more than 2,000 wins as a Major League manager. Matter of fact, stands at 2,106, including this year's numbers. Gives it a ride to right. Switch hitter batting right-handed. And there are a couple of outs. And in the pitcher spot, Craig Counsell will now hit. Sorry, partner.
Tony La Russa has 9 pitchers out in that bullpen, including 4 left-handers. And the rookie sensation, Rick Ankiel, the left-hander out in the bullpen for what we've been told is really throwing the baseball well. And one of the good feel-good stories in baseball. Remember, Ankiel was so effective in the postseason for the Cardinals and just could not find the strike zone the following year. Down in the minor leagues, on and off the disabled list, and finally it appears that he's starting to put it together again.
Ended up having to undergo, with all his throwing and working and mechanics tinkering, had Tommy John surgery, did Ankiel. That's Julian Tavares warming. Had it last July. Craig Counsell pinch hitting. Craig Counsell base hitting. He's thinking about 2. He's really thinking about 2. And he's in there.
Yeah, good hustle by Craig, I'll tell you. 2 outs, nobody on. Got to get that man into scoring position, and that's exactly what he did. Good risk to take. Broken bat just out of the reach of Albert Pujols. Dumps it into right field. And the hustle double for Counsell. It's the Brewers a base hit away from retaking the lead. Very close at second base.
And look who gets a chance to give the Brewers the lead. You know Chad Moeller wants to drive that run in.
Yeah, with 1 out and nobody out, you're not going to take that risk if you're Craig. But with 2 outs, nobody on, you bet.
Yeah, you were talking about Ankiel, Bill, how he's pitching better. And was activated off the disabled list from that surgery a year ago. It was back in 2000 that Ankiel was 11-7 as a rookie with a 3.50 ERA. Setting a rookie record. And La Russa will go to Tavares now. We may see Ankiel. For now, it's the veteran right-hander, Julian Tavares, who will step aside.
With MVP candidates, the Cardinals bring the league's best record to the ballpark. But can they stop baseball's #1 thief when Scotty Poe goes on the prowl in Milwaukee? Cardinals, Brewers, tomorrow and Wednesday on FSN North.
Tomorrow on the Sports List. When the retirement bell sounded, these stars turned a deaf ear. Athletes who hung on too long. We reveal our picks tomorrow on the Sports List.
Once and for all, the greatest is about to leave his mark. It's the Poker Superstars Invitational. For the first time in history, the 8 greatest players gather to finally answer the question, who is the world's best poker player? No amateurs, no jokers, no mercy. Learn from the masters. The Poker Superstars Invitational. Sunday, only on FSN.
Please welcome Shaquille O'Neal. And now, Pamela Anderson. Chris Fry. Let's give a big hand for Samuel L. Jackson. I'm excited.
There's something special in the air on the best damn sports show, period. Tonight on FSN.
You see 2 left-handed batters in that on-deck circle, timing the motion of a relief pitcher. One is Kieschnick, one is Overbay. Kieschnick will pinch hit. Which relief pitcher are they looking out for? Well, on the mound, it's veteran right-hander Julian Tavares who goes to work. 72 games, and boy, he is getting better each year. Look at that.
Yes, indeed. Look at the numbers for Tavares. He's been another big surprise for Tony La Russa. Out of that bullpen, a 2.61 ERA, and all year he's only given up 1 home run. He's been able to keep the ball in the ballpark, and that's what you look for out of the bullpen. make him beat you with 3 singles and not make a mistake middle in and allow one pitch to end the ball game.
Those are very heavy baseball. A lot of sink. They'll mix in that changeup. And Brooks Kieschnick called upon to pinch hit. Kieschnick with 11 pinch hits this year and 42 at-bats with a homer and 6 RBIs. Well, we've seen in Kieschnick the pinch hitter in the second half, since he's, even prior to the DL and after, he's putting it in play a lot more. It's not really Bill an outhouse or Castle approach for him.
Now with 2 strikes, he's just looking to make contact. I mean, that's the difference between Brooks this year and last year. But his first 2 swings, he's going to let him fly.
No balls and 1 strike to count on Brooks, who this summer became a brand new daddy. Another breaking ball misses wide at the plate. In career at-bats against the right-hander Tavares, Brooks Kieschnick 0 for 3 with 1 walk.
Something you don't see from Brooks Kieschnick a whole lot is a walk.
Counsell at second base. He's the go-ahead run. Fastball, and that strike zone. Some edges on it there. It's 1 and 2.
Well located pitch, huh? Right on the outside corner. And again, that's how Tavares keeps the ball in the ballpark. Doesn't make a mistake inside, working the outer half of the plate, and finds the edge.
Upon further review, that was a strike and a nasty pitch. 2 outs and the 1-2. 2-2 to count. You can see Tavares, and some pitchers are comfortable doing this. He gave an extra spin and a look to Counsell in his actual move before he went to the plate. Lifted, spun, looked, and then went home just to look him back. A 31-year-old right-hander doesn't seem a day over 36. The 2-2. Down off the end of the bat into center field with a unique route. So Taguchi runs it down. He nearly misplayed that ball. But the man who won 5 gold gloves playing outfield in Japan righted the ship, and he ran it down.
Introducing IMAX, a half hour of sports news like never before.
That void in sports news is now filled.
Diverse guests, smart analysis, and challenging questions.
It's just my opinion, but I'm right.
IMAX with Max Kellerman. Smart, funny, and always opinionated. Next on FSN.
Protect cars, boats, and trailers before the snow flies with big savings on shelters from Menards. They're simple to assemble and feature a UV-resistant cover. This 12-foot wide by 20-foot long model is on sale just $299. Add security and convenience with motion-detecting lights by Regent. This super bright halogen light detects motion up to 70 feet away. On sale only $17.96. Menards lights your way to savings.
Save big money at Menards.
The Wisconsin Lottery has noticed that no 2 players are quite alike, which is why we have an incredible variety of scratch games. Like 4 Gets More, the new $2 instant scratch game with a top prize of $16,000. Instant scratch games. No matter how you play, odds are you like them.
Brewers trying to reel in a win, desperately needing it. They lost 6 in a row. And don't forget to join us tomorrow as the Brewers return to FSN North. Game 2 with the Central Division champion Cardinals, Victor Santos, and 14-game winner Jason Marquis. Brewers ticket kicks it off at 6 o'clock. Note the start time, 6 o'clock. First pitch at about 6:35. It is not a safe situation, but it is a situation in which a zero is needed. Gary Bennett comes on, and he will do the catching, and he will catch the closer for the Brewers on the mound. Right-hander Dan Kolb comes on for the 59th time this season. And again, not a safe situation, but a very good season for the all-star right-hander.
Well, again, it's been slim pickings for Dan Kolb in the second half to rack up saves, but still in all, outstanding year for him. 37 saves and 41 opportunities. Right here, Dan Kolb's got to get 3 up and 3 down and get those Brewer bats going again.
Right down the middle, a strike to Tony Womack. Fastball sinks away. Look at the life on that one. 96 miles an hour. Danny, 3 saves against the Cardinals this year. He's made 3 appearances. Has worked 3 innings and allowed just 1 run against St. Louis. Slapped the other way. And nearly extra bases.
Tell you what, it's been a long time in waiting for Dan Kolb to break that franchise saves record. And he tied the record with his 37-time Bob Wickman way back on September 6th.
And he won't do it tonight.
No, won't do it tonight, but that's a long time, my friend.
You're right.
Today's the 20th.
Haven't been a lot of wins to save.
No.
Womack 1 for 3 in career at bats against the Brewers closer. That's a split-fingered fastball, and that's a base hit into right field. Past a diving Lyle Overby. Either that or the slider. Danny definitely went with an off-speed pitch there, though.
No, he got it on the ground. It looked like Lyle got a late break on that baseball. Maybe didn't see it all that well, but for whatever reason, it got by him. Just dropped the head of the bat on it to Tony Womack, and you can see Lyle protecting the line late in the ball game. You'll give up the single, but not the double. That's why he wasn't able to get there.
Womack always a threat to run, and especially now what he represents. There's not been a stolen base against Danny Kolb this year. 1 attempt. Base runners are 0 for 1 against Danny. You do have Pujols on deck. You've got to be careful. If you're going to steal a base, you had better be safe. 1-1 the count on Taguchi.
And it's doubly tough when you face Albert Pujols when he's got an 0 for hung on him. Doesn't happen very often. He's 0 for 2 tonight. A walk, a sacrifice fly.
Looking for a silver lining, then look for the double play ground ball and look for it here as that one misses high. 9 times Danny has induced double play ground balls this year. You see what Womack has done. And he is certainly the ground ball king. Kolb with 106 ground ball outs, 35 in the air. That's a 3-to-1 mind-boggling ratio.
Yeah, if he's going to run, this is the count to run on right here. 2-1. See if he goes.
He stays put. That one's fouled off. And even pitches that Danny throws, Bill, that are high in the zone still move. I mean, Taguchi committed to that pitch. It ended up almost hitting it.
Which is kind of unusual because when a sinker ball pitcher gets his pitches up, they flatten out. They don't do a whole lot. But when they're down, they move quite a bit.
Keep an eye on Womack for you. He stays put. Just missed. That sinker nearly caught the inside corner.
Bennett wanted it inside, and it was inside.
got to think the odds are up that the runner takes off here. Full count. Runner goes, and it's rolled foul.
If you're the Brewers, you certainly want to have Keith Ginter covering second on the stolen base, because Taguchi had really shown no sign of even considering hitting the ball to the opposite field. You certainly want to have Bill Hall stay put right over there at shortstop.
Runner on the move again, and it's fouled off.
And Bill Hall was covering second base, really opening up that hole over there between short and third.
Danny Kolb has not worked in a game prior to tonight since the 14th against San Francisco. 6 days ago, the first game of that series, 1 scoreless inning. Runner goes again, ball 4. And here's Albert Pujols. Nobody out. Runners on first and second. A single off the bat of Womack and a walk to Taguchi. His first batter that Dan Kolb has walked since August 30th.
Does it surprise you that Albert Pujols has not dropped down a sacrifice bunt?
Not in the slightest.
Scott Rowland's got one. I don't think he'll be bunting here. That's a pretty good bet.
And he steps out. 328. He has 44 home runs and 113 RBIs. One of the greatest starts to a major league career offensively in the history of the game. On the ground, into center field, and the St. Louis Cardinals lead it 5-4.
There's that guy again. He was 0 for 2. You don't hold that guy hitless very often. Still nobody out. Well, Dan Kolb got his ground ball again, but unfortunately it found center field. Fastball down the middle. Albert Pujols knows what he needs to get the job done. You know, you hit that ball a little bit to the right or to the left, that might be a double play, but everything that touches his bat turns to gold.
Credit to him. I mean, he has told us, I've read it in articles, he said it on our air, the harder a pitcher throws, the easier I try to swing. I let a guy that throws in the mid-90s do the work for me. In other words, I take what they give me.
Well, and more importantly than swing easier, he tries to get on top of the baseball.
Yep.
I mean, it's all well and good to swing easy, but if you don't get on top of it, you're just going to pop it up. Reggie Sanders thought he had a base hit, and it was pretty close. Not sure what happened over there at second base with Keith Ginter, but he looked as though maybe he got caught up with Pujols over there. He's out. It was close, but he was out.
All right, here's Roger Cedeno. Cardinals scoring single runs in the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. Right down the middle. Can't help but think that the Brewers should never have come to this point.
Well, that 8th inning was a disaster. A couple of wild pitches, the pass ball to allow the Cardinals to tie it up. And again, you know, that's the last thing you would expect out of Chad Moeller. I mean, all season long, he and Gary Bennett have been doing such a good job of blocking balls in the dirt with 2 strikes. Nothing gets by those guys, and 3 balls and 1 hitter got away, and Cardinals tied the game.
Ned Yost before the game was asked about his catchers, and he said, yeah, you'd like to have a little more offense out of those guys and what they've been able to do. He said they both have shown flashes earlier in their careers where they have hit for a whole season. They basically closed the subject by saying questions about next year just not easy to answer right now. Give me a few more weeks, let this season end, then I'll answer those questions. But he did make it clear about those questions that we could all call him and ask him those questions, but he does have caller ID. He did tell us that.
In other words, I'm not going to answer it.
Depends the mood I'm in, maybe.
He'll answer your phone call.
Maybe I want to take a break from you guys for a while, as that one has fouled off, and I think it's deserved.
Oh yeah. I'll tell you what, he's handled himself pretty well in those pregame meetings with the media, and never really has faltered or waned at all in his approach.
That wouldn't be me, I'll tell you that right now.
And at times when it was very frustrating. And a time when it continues to be frustrating for him.
One man's opinion, but this man feels that that is certainly the right manager for this franchise. Put some more guns in his bullet, though. Yep. Or some bullets in his gun, I should say. Forgive Edgar Renteria the MVP. Grounded. Durrington has to leave his feet, and he can't make the play. That's at speed. If Cedeno could put it on the ground like that every time, he'd be a 300 hitter. There's another run.
That's what they've been looking for him to do, as you talked about his entire career. Just put the ball on the ground and run. He runs very well. He always has, but you can't outrun a pop-up or a strikeout. You can outrun a grounder.
Six to 4, the Cardinals lead it. Couple of runs in this inning, charged to Dan Cole. And if St. Louis wins, they will do so for the 98th time this year. The Yankees have 94 wins, including their loss tonight. Second best record in the major leagues.
There's still 2 weeks left.
The St. Louis Cardinals are 46-25 on the road this year. Base hit left field. There's another run for the Redbirds.
A slider from Dan Cole, and he really gave that one away. Slowed his arm action down and served it up there. An 0-2 slider from Dan Coleman. That's going to be it for the Brewer closer. What a disaster for the Brewers and Dan Cole. Last 2 innings have been rough.
Ned Yost is going to make the call to the bullpen. Tony La Russa said it very vehemently yesterday when asked by reporters if in fact a clinched tie is good enough. He said, we clinch on the field, and tonight they are going to clinch, barring a major comeback, on the field. We'll step aside. The Cardinals surprising the Brewers.
Jim Brown was a football icon in a racially divided America.
That's a black superhero that's still here.
He left the game at the peak of his career.
I never got fulfillment from a football game.
And after hitting rock bottom, he launched a personal quest for salvation.
Jim created a bridge between 2 worlds.
The rise, fall, and resurrection of Jim Brown. Beyond the Glory, Sunday on FSN. Introducing IMAX, a half hour of sports news like never before.
That void in sports news is now filled.
Diverse guests, smart analysis, and challenging questions.
It's just my opinion, but I'm right.
IMAX with Max Kellerman. Smart, funny, and always opinionated. Tonight on FSN. Totally Football is your inside source for all pro and college gridiron news.
The hardest hitting football show in the biz.
Patrick O'Neill and our insider Jake Glazer break all the stories before anyone else.
When I first broke it, people were telling me, yes, this is going to cause such a heated debate.
We'll take you inside the huddle and behind the scenes for all the pigskin action. Totally Football, weeknights on FSN.
Some of the Cardinal fans making the trip over. Maybe they live here and they're Cardinals fans. One never knows. Look, I can't read their minds, folks. I'm trying to.
A lot of Cardinal fans here tonight. Sea of red.
Pedro Liriano comes on out of the bullpen, a man who scuffled wins and losses anyway in AAA. Done a nice job here in the big leagues. And Bill, you and I were talking before the game. Everything he throws moves.
Yeah. He throws that sinking fastball. It's going to go away from a left-handed hitter. That slider going in on him. Nothing really straight. It's just a matter of Liriano getting the ball down. If he's able to keep it down, he's going to have some success. Not going to overpower anybody.
Veteran John Mabry having a fine year, 311 home runs, 34 RBIs, and a part-time role. How about that season? And he gives that one a ride. High and deep left center field. Jenkins has room.
And that's the way it is. You know, when you have a team like the Cardinals who are going to win as many games as they are, 105, 106 games, who knows, but everybody has to chip in, and you got to get big performances out of players that you don't expect a whole lot out of coming out of spring training. Don Mabry is certainly one of those guys.
Cody McKay has a bat. He's in the on-deck circle. Yadier Molina will swing the bat now. The youngest of the three Molina brothers in the big leagues. And another pitch that will go to the backstop. And the Cardinals will move up 90 feet. The St. Louis Cardinals are already the Central Division champions. They knew it before they took the field. When Florida beat Chicago 5-2 in a doubleheader split, the game 2 of that doubleheader, it was official. But again, Tony La Russa said last night, we want to win this thing on the field, and they are playing tonight like they have to win to clinch.
Yeah, well, yes, they are. That's 4 wild pitches by the Brewer pitching staff tonight. 4 wild pitches and a pass ball. Not going to win many games when you give up bases like that.
And so they're getting some help from the Brewers as they do win on the field.
As if they need help, the Cardinals. They don't need any help.
The count on Molina. This is the heir apparent when Mike Matheny's job is no longer with the Cardinals. On the ground, gobbled up by Brandon. A 3-run 9th inning against Kolb and Crew, and it's 7-4.
Introducing the redesigned 2005 Nissan Altima. You might call it an extreme makeover. We call it the 05 Altima. Now with 1,000 cash back or 2% financing, Altima's never been more attractive.
Beautiful.
1,000 cash or 2% at your Nissan dealer now.
Hey, Howie, what are you doing? Sleeping? Wake up. Hey, Buckethead, get up. Hey, nice golf game today, little buddy.
Somebody, please stop the pain. He's killing my minutes. I needed a wireless plan.
Radio Shack's pain-free wireless sale has great deals on wireless phones and accessories and the best values on calling plans and coverage. Plus, we'll transfer your number to your new phone and show you how to transfer your phone book, too.
Can you transfer all the numbers except that one?
Radio Shack.
The best just gets better. For a limited time, get into any 2004 Ford Explorer and get a no-charge 100,000-mile powertrain extended service plan. Add to that an impressive list of available luxury features, a best pick by the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, and a great deal. Get $6,000 total cash back when financed through Ford Credit or choose 0 for 60. That's $6,000 total cash back, plus a no-charge 100,000-mile powertrain extended service plan. So get into a 2004 Explorer, only at your local Ford store.
Those wearing red tonight are certainly smiling. Their team, the Central Division champions, and with a little icing on the cake here, a 7-4 lead. They, in fact, will put it on the board. And there's a marriage that for now is going to be okay. The Brewers can get themselves together the next few years. That couple may have some problems.
Well, as long as the female gets her way, everything will be fine.
Izzy on for his 43rd save of the year, the right-hander. They converted him, Rick Peterson, and the A's did to a closer, and he's been a good one, a very good one.
No, I didn't mean that. I really didn't.
What'd you say?
You didn't even hear me?
As long as the woman gets her way?
Yeah. I didn't mean it.
That's okay.
Kinda.
It's all right. I think there's nothing wrong with that.
Didn't really mean it.
You're trying to save your backside, aren't you?
Yeah, kind of. Too late.
Lyle Overbay leads it off. My partner's in big trouble.
I am.
Scott Bissett quits on deck.
As soon as I said it.
Maybe your better half isn't watching right now.
Oh, I'm sure she is.
Oh, boy.
Wants to know when I'm going to be home.
1-0 the count. Back to the screen it goes. 7-4, the Cardinals lead it. Lyle tonight came on as a pinch hitter. Back in the 6th inning, has stayed in and played first base ever since. Curveball and a dead.
Yeah, that's what makes him so tough. He throws hard. He's got a great breaking ball. Not afraid to throw it at any time. Look at that. I mean, a la Matt Morris early in the game. Remember when he was pitching?
Yes, I do.
Seems like yesterday.
That one's off the bag. Nice job by Pujols. That had every chance to run itself awry once it skipped off that bag, but Albert put a glove on it and went right back to the bag and recorded the out. Nice job.
You know, you nonchalant that just a little bit. That ball's going to be trickling down the line and right, but went after it, got himself in good position, glove down on the ground and reacting up. Watch the ball hit the bag and stay down. And Albert Pujols in perfect position to make the adjustment.
Scott Bissett 1 for 4 tonight, takes a fastball high. 1-0 the count on Scotty. .172 career saves for this right-hander. As Scott toward left, on the run Sanders. There are 2 outs. And one more out until the celebration can begin for the St. Louis Cardinals. If you talk to any of the baseball experts around spring training, they would have said, well, maybe 3rd at best. It's got to be the Cubs. It's got to be the Astros with what they've done. Well, it's been the men in red. And they are the best team in baseball right now.
And they got off to a horrible start in April, and they haven't looked back since.
To the right side, look at the MVP candidate to the bag, and the Cardinals can celebrate. They knew they were the champs before this game was played, but they won it on the field. They got a lot of help from the Brewers. Some wild pitches, a passed ball, very key in that 8th inning, but then they took charge and rallied. A 7-4 victory. St. Louis Cardinals, congratulations to the best team in baseball, the 2004 National League Central Division champions. Pick an MVP for them, it's tough. Pick a player of the game, maybe a little bit easier. So Taguchi, amongst all those stars, Taguchi had a very good game, Bill, and he helped his club out. He is our Potawatomi player of the game.
Well, he was in the middle of that lineup, batting second, and I'll tell you what, he was on 4 times, a couple of walks, a couple of hits, an RBI, a run scored. You know, it was a complete team effort by the Cardinals. They just make things happen. They take advantage of mistakes, and that's why they won so many games this year.
A lot of their front office executives and fans have made the trip, and they are cheering. All right, well, that's all from Miller Park, where the Cardinals officially win the Central now, and they do it by a score of 7-4. Tomorrow, the Brewers return to FSN North for Game 2 with the St. Louis Cardinals. Our coverage begins at 6 o'clock with the Brewers ticket. Coming up next on FSN North, don't miss the Badger Sports Report. For Bill Schroeder and our entire broadcast team, I'm Darren Sutton. Another great job in the truck, everyone tonight. And until tomorrow, from Miller Park, good night, Wisconsin.